No trade-in needed, even on our lowest price plan. That's 2 gifts for your family and 1 for you. Or 2 for you and 1 for someone else. Or 3 gifts for you and only you. Either way, you save big on 3 amazing gifts at Verizon. All on the best 5G network. Visit Verizon today. Rankings based on Root Metric Root Score report dated 1/8/2025. Your results may vary. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Additional terms apply.
This Eagles season, get in the game at Acme and enter their Swoop In and Win sweepstakes for your chance to win Eagles tickets, autographed jerseys, helmets, or more. Download the Acme app or visit acmemarkets.com/swoopinandwin for more details. Plus, save 5% when you shop on game days wearing your Eagles apparel. Acme makes sure Eagles fans have all their game day needs. Don't miss the featured football items of the week. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, or Cheez-It crackers, all 2 for $5. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
When you're cheering for the Eagles at the top of your lungs, intimidating rivals with your boisterous, loyal presence, just remember, the McDonald's app is cheering for you, rain or shine.
That's why Philly fans get a free Big Mac with a $2 purchase the day after the Eagles sack the quarterback. It's a Big Mac for a sack, only in the McDonald's app. Offer valid once a week at participating McDonald's the day after the game. Excludes tax. Must opt into rewards.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
In case you missed it, the AAA Eagles MVP membership is back, which brings you Hall of Fame roadside service and the chance to win Eagles tickets, access to exclusive events, and 15% off at the Pro Shop. You'll stay ready on the road and on game day. Join the squad at AAA.com/Eagles. Let's fly, Philly.
BetMGM, an official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles, is ready for football season. Want to join the fun? Download the BetMGM app to get started and place your bets with us all season long. Whether you're cheering on the Eagles at the stadium or watching the game at your favorite Philly sports bar, you'll always be able to get in on the action with the BetMGM app right in the palm of your hand. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Visit BetMGM.com for T's and C's. 21 plus to wager. New Jersey and Pennsylvania only. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, help is available. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Did you know one of the world's fastest growing fintechs is right here in Philadelphia? Meet FreedomPay, the next level technology reinventing the world of commerce. We are a network of winners, which is why we're proud to be a partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Get to know us. We will show you technology that can transform your business. Or come work with us and become part of our global team. FreedomPay.
94 WIP HD1 Philadelphia. Sports Radio 94 WIP presents the Eagles Radio Network. For the second week in a row, the Eagles defense delivered.
Defense playing lights out. One of the best performances I've ever seen.
Today, they arrive in hostile territory.
The Cowboys always have our attention, our biggest game of the year.
For a clash with the Cowboys. Today's game is sponsored in part by PNC Bank, Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Systems, your Delaware Valley Honda dealers, Verizon, and Piazza Auto Group. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.
Welcome to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio with you. Elliot Shore Parks will join us live from down in Dallas coming up in just a little bit as we get set for a big one. 8-2 Eagles, 4-5-1 Cowboys. Hugh, how are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing good. Can't wait till this game starts. It's going to be a good one. I think the Eagles are going to trounce them.
Oh, see, that's what I need to hear. Trounce the Dallas Cowboys. Well, that would put them much closer to their goal, of course, which is winning the NFC East. If they win this game today, coupled with another win on Friday and a Dallas loss on Thanksgiving, Hugh, this thing would be a wrap on Black Friday. That's how close the Eagles are to clinching the NFC East and, of course, the 1 seed and all that. But, Hugh, that's big picture. Let's talk small picture. And let's talk about a week that, as always around here, has some drama. Hugh, what's your feeling on how the Eagles are going to come out today after another week with a lot of, I don't know what you call it, noise, questions, stuff about the offense, the quarterback?
Unbothered.
I like that.
This team is dysfunctional as it is. I mean, but they find ways to win, and they've been doing it for years. You know, some of this that we're dealing with harkens back to last year.
Yes.
There was some rumblings last year. and the team went on to win the Super Bowl. So I'm not too much worried about what's going on in the locker room. I know that there's a lot of people that feel that the media has a lot to do with some of the storylines. That's not the case. It's actually what's going on in the locker room. But they do a great job of handling adversity, and I don't expect them to do anything different this weekend. It's handled it like they've been handling.
Well, they're going to need to. And look, there's certain games on the calendar you look at, and this one, the Cowboys are going to be up for this game, right? Their season is kind of on the line here the next 5 days. They need it. I mean, in order to stay alive for a potential postseason berth, they're going to get the Cowboys' best shot today. So the Eagles need to be on their game today. And Hugh, really, it has to be the offense. We know the defense is rounded into form. They're playing incredible football right now, but it's about the offense. And Hugh, the question is, can they get this offense going? Can they get this passing game going here, which has just felt out of sync.
Disjointed.
Yeah, it's a good word. Disjointed, out of sync. It's felt that way the entire season. Today, matchup-wise, Hugh, it feels like a spot they should be able to throw the ball better.
Yeah, it does. It does. You worry about that offense that the Dallas Cowboys have, but like I said earlier, it's strength on strength. Our defense is playing well. Their offense is playing well. They've been holding teams to less than 10 points a game.
Yep.
Which is pretty phenomenal.
It's amazing.
And defense travels well. So I think that this is going to be a hard-fought battle on both of those sides of the ball. We just need to find some consistency on offense.
Yeah, and they haven't had that in the last couple weeks. Now, to be fair, the weather has not been great, right? And the weather, I think, has played a role in their offensive struggles each of the last 2 weeks, slipping on the field in Lambeau. Last week, the wind, it was just hard to throw the football. But, just a couple weeks ago, Hugh, we were talking about Jalen Hurts and how well he was playing. Remember those games he played against the Giants?
Yeah, he was turning the corner.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings game, the guy had a perfect passer rating. You look at the last 2 games, it's been dull. The passing game has been dull. It's been some of the least productive back-to-back games Jalen has had in a very long time. I expect Jalen to play better today, Hugh. I expect this passing game to be better. And I don't care if it's A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert. I thought last week they went too far in trying to get A.J. Brown the ball. I think this offense is better right now when they just spread this thing around, Hugh. Last week there was a lot of targets to A.J., and it was like it didn't really provide much. They threw the ball to him, but nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. It looked like he was going to get off to a pretty good game, and at the end of the game, it really looked disjointed. They need to figure out how to get it going and, distribute the football and get everybody else involved so that they could loosen up the running game a little bit. I think that's going to help the running game a lot if they can figure out a way to get the passing game going.
Well, it will. I mean, we've said that all year, and unfortunately, it's only been a couple games where the passing game really got revved up. A half here or there, a game here or there. They need it today. They're not going up against a good defense, although it's probably better than it was 3 weeks or a month ago because they've added some players. But there should be opportunities on a fast track to play well. And Hugh, you look at the Cowboys' offense. The Eagles' offense, you would think today is going to need to score some points. I know would you throw out the number 21 on Sunday?
21, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but they won the last 2 games in the teens. I think today it's going to be hard to imagine them winning without putting some points on the board because that Cowboys' offense, Hugh, that offense is humming right now.
Yeah, but the offense that they played last week, the Detroit Lions were averaging 31.4 points a game.
How much do you think it was the weather?
I think a little bit of the weather.
I mean, the weather.
Think it was a little bit of the weather.
Today, that's not part of the game, right?
It's not. And I just think this defense travels well. Like I said, you talk about Nakobe Dean and the way that he was playing. You talk about Jalen Phillips and those blocks that they had up front with the defensive line. That was phenomenal. What they had last week, and I think they need to keep that going.
Yeah, well, they do, and they also need to find a way around the injury to Lane Johnson. So Lane Johnson, Liz Frank issue. We did get some news this morning. It sounds like the Eagles are on the better side of the potential outcomes here.
Don't sound like there's any surgery.
Yeah, no surgery necessary for Lane Johnson, according to the reports this morning. And he could even be back within the 4-week range. Maybe it's not even going to be a full 4 weeks. That is pretty remarkable. Whether it's 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, huge. Just the fact that he'll be back later this season is huge.
It won't miss any time with surgery. That's pretty phenomenal.
It's huge, and it's huge for their chances to get go deep in the playoffs. But today, he obviously won't be there. I know that Fred Johnson has had a lot of experience in there. Regardless of Fred's experience level and how good Fred is, Hugh, that is a drop-off. That's going to be a challenge. So no Lane today, but there's also no game designation injury-wise for Cam Jurgens. Hugh, during the week, he was coming off the concussion protocol, and I didn't think he was going to play in this game, but he was out there on Thursday. He was out there on Friday. And Hugh, no game designation for Cam Jurgens, which means he's good to go. That's a big one.
Yeah, that is huge, man. I know earlier in the week when we were talking about this game, he was somewhat questionable, but now that he's out there, I mean, that's great. You have one of your guys out there. Lane's not out there, but you have one of your other guys So it just adds a shot in the arm for that offense.
Well, they need it. They need all the shots in the arm they could get. Hopefully today's the day they get going here. And it's a day that they really should be up for this game. They're in Dallas. They're against the Cowboys. Hugh, they're wearing the Kelly greens. They could basically end the Cowboys season. Today. I mean, Dallas really,
put a fork in them for Thanksgiving.
That's the best. There's an idea today that the Eagles could go to Dallas and end their season. Hugh, what is it like? I mean, not many people have that experience. What is it like to go to Dallas and beat the Cowboys there?
Oh, man, it's a great feeling, man. It's one of those especially back in the day when we went down there. I remember we went down at the beginning of the season. Everybody was talking about the Dallas Cowboys and how good they were going to be that year. And the weather, it was extremely hot.
The pickle juice game?
Yeah, the pickle juice game, man. And we went down there and we beat the brakes off the Cowboys. It was one of the best feelings in the world, man. It really, really was.
There's something like, within the division, obviously all these games are huge games and they're important games, but there is something about winning on the road in the division that just adds to the mix. And this is a huge game for the Eagles. And you start looking at this schedule and what's at stake here. If they win today and the Cowboys lose to the Chiefs on Thanksgiving and then the Eagles win on Friday, that would clinch the NFC East. This thing would be over before December 1st.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
It'd be awesome. And it would give the Eagles a chance to kind of, maximize that final month to get ready for the postseason. On top of that, the Eagles here right now have a 50% chance. It's 50% to get the number 1 overall seed and the bye. They win this football game today, and their chances to get the number 1 seed go to 64%. So it's a big game. It's a leverage game for the Eagles in terms of getting a bye in the first round of the postseason. All right, coming up on the other side, Elliot Shorr-Parks will join us. We will talk to Elliot about the offense and about this big one today down in Dallas. This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
It's the year-end sales event with the Ford crew.
It's sales event time, Sam.
Temperatures are dropping, but the deals are just getting hot.
Time for our annual Ford Holiday Gift Guide.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to go wrong with great deals on trucks and SUVs from Ford, America's all-time best-selling auto brand.
Don't forget the first rule of holiday gift giving, Hank.
What's that, Sam?
Always remember to treat yourself, too.
Well said.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
Hey, Eagles fans, Verizon's kicking off big savings, scoring a touchdown with low prices locked in for 3 years guaranteed on my plan. Get a single line for a low price of just $50 a month when you switch and bring your phone on unlimited welcome with auto pay plus taxes and fees. It's a deal that'll have you doing an end zone dance. Don't get flagged for high prices. Huddle up at your local Verizon store today. You'll be tackling savings in no time. Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. $20 monthly credit applied over 36 months. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms apply. See store for details.
At PJ Fitzpatrick, you don't have to pick between affordability and quality. You can get American-made windows that are beautiful, affordable, and energy efficient. PJ Fitzpatrick has a variety of financing packages that work with any budget. Plus, they provide peace of mind with a lifetime guarantee on materials and labor for your new windows. You can have it all. Visit trustpj.com for a free design consultation. That's trustpj.com.
You've got to see Scott Kia's new location in Royersford, where their focus is on you. Relax with an easy, transparent, and enjoyable car buying experience with a stunning new showroom, a state-of-the-art service center, and a staff that understands your time is valuable and will treat you like a VIP. It's time to experience what a 5-star service truly feels like. They are focusing on you, and that's changing everything. And that's why it's always smooth sailing at Scott Kia of Limerick, just off Route 422.
Hugh Douglas here, and I know by now you've heard of our new drink, the new Jack Daniel's Tennessee Blackberry Whiskey. It's the real deal, folks. It's bold, vibrant blackberry softened with creamy vanilla, toasted oak, and just a hint of honey. It will be the touchdown of your tailgate this season. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Blackberry, now available at your local fine wine and good spirits. Celebrate responsibly.
Winter is coming, and even small roof problems can become big leaks. I'm Merrill Reese for Impriano Roofing and Siding, trusted by local families for over 50 years. Their experts handle roofing, siding, and energy-efficient windows with no pressure, no gimmicks, just honest work and lasting results using the best CertainTeed products. Be proactive. Protect your home before the cold sets in. Visit Impriano.com or call 610-644-4444 today. The best homes have an Impriano roof. Impriano Roofing and Siding, family trusted since 1973.
It's a long season, but one thing is sure. Birds football is sure to make your heart skip a beat. But that flutter you feel in your chest could also be something else, like AFib, atrial fibrillation, a serious heart condition that needs expert care from an all-pro team like Deborah Heart and Lung Center. One thing is certain, all season long, Team Green is sure to make your heart flutter, maybe even skip a beat now and then. Just remember, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. DemandDeborah.org. Go Birds.
Is holiday shopping making you stressed? Scratch that. Give gifts with more winners. Holiday scratch-offs from the PA Lottery. They'll go from O to OMG in a ho-ho hurry. Gift one today. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Celebrate the Philadelphia Eagles' historic World Championship victory with the official fan jewelry collection from Jason of Beverly Hills. Shop everything from rings and necklaces to bracelets, earrings, and more. All inspired by the 2024 championship rings worn by the team. This exclusive collection honors the heart, grit, and glory of the Eagles' triumph on football's biggest stage. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of Eagles history. See the entire line now at jasonofbh.com/Eagles.
Is holiday shopping making you stressed? Scratch that. Give gifts with more winners. Holiday scratch-offs from the PA Lottery. They'll go from O to OMG in a ho-ho hurry. Gift one today. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
This is the Verizon Pregame Show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio, and joining us right now, live from Jerry's World down in Dallas, Elliot Shorr-Parks. Elliot, how we doing?
Elliot.
Doing good here in, the best stadium in the NFL, the way football is meant to be played. So excited to watch this game today.
I was waiting how long into the show you would drop that. Well, it is, I'm glad actually you went there because, Elliot, the last couple weeks, let's start with the offense. Let's not, ignore the elephant in the room. The Eagles' offense needs to be better. But I do think it is interesting the last couple weeks that the weather has certainly helped the Eagles' defense, but maybe it has hurt the Eagles' offense. Now, that is not an element today, right? It will be for the Eagles' defense. They can't get helped by the weather. But their offense, Elliot, the weather's not an excuse today. They're going to have to go out there and play well against a defense that I think is a little bit improved from where they were a month ago, but still not a good defense. Elliot, is today the day? Is this offense, after a week of more drama, are they finally ready to move the football?
Yeah, I need 30 points today. I think today getting
to
30 points is crucially important. You got to leave this one feeling good about the offense. Obviously, we know winning is what matters most because for them to get to the Super Bowl, they're pretty much going to have to be the one seed. I'm not saying they can't win on the road, but the Eagles as a franchise have never made the Super Bowl where they have to win a road game, and Nick Sirianni and Jalen have never won a road playoff game. I'm not saying they definitely can't, but just history indicates it'll be way harder. So I do understand getting the win today is important, but let's all just be honest with ourselves. If they struggle today offensively and win this game 17-10, sure, we'll feel good about the defense, but you feel even worse about the offense. I think today is a big-time prove-it day for the Eagles offense. We're going to find out if the weather really was an excuse or if they're just not that well this year. I mean, 10 games into the season, they certainly haven't been impressive. There's no reason not to be impressive today. The Cowboys defense is near the bottom of the league in almost every meaningful statistical category, including points. So today's a day where they got to come out and show in these conditions against this defense, they can play well.
The offense is what's on the menu here, sponsored by Hatfield. Better care, better pork. Head to simplyhatfield.com to find a retail location near you. Hear your reaction to that. Elliot needs 30 points by the offense today.
Ooh, that might be a little lofty, El.
Lofty?
Given the fact that this offense has not been consistent over the last couple of weeks. They've been winning. They haven't been consistent.
Well, they've been bad. It's consistent.
I'm 21 points. If you give me 21 points, we can win this.
I mean, 21 points. Maybe we're trying to be realistic, but 21 points is embarrassing for what this offense is supposed to be. 21 points. I feel like most teams can get 21 points the majority of days in the NFL. And you look against this Cowboys defense, they've allowed not only a ton of points to teams they've played. I think 3 teams have set season highs for points against the Cowboys. But when they play here in Dallas, they give up a lot of points. Not only do the Cowboys score a lot, the teams that play in this stadium score a lot of points against them. So 21 points. If they win this game 21-20, 21-17, honestly, even if they win it like 21-10, I think that would be concerning. Unless we're watching this and saying they're just controlling the clock the second half, I want to see them be able to move the ball at will today, because that's what really good teams have done against this Cowboys defense.
Elliot, let's talk about how they can get to those points and have a better offensive showing. So it's been obvious all year they just haven't been able to be consistent on either part of their offense, the run game or the pass game. Today they're going up against a team they played in week 1, and it's a team that plays a lot of zone. I mean, typically when teams play a lot of zone, those are more of the days for Devontae Smith. Elliot, I thought last week they forced the ball to A.J. Brown. I thought it felt too much. It felt like they almost ignored their more productive and more consistent receiver this year in Devontae Smith. Elliot, when you look at this matchup, how are they getting these points? Is this a day finally the run game gets going, or is it a day for the pass game against a Cowboys pass defense that's not very good?
Yeah, so I think it could be either. I think it's going to be a big day for the running game today. I think having Cam Jurgens back out there will be big. Obviously, no Lane Johnson, but I think Fred Johnson can provide a little bit of stability for an offensive line that's had guys in and out of the lineup all season. So I would think the running game, but when you talk about the passing game, and before we get to today, just about last week, I mean, it was hard watching them force the ball to AJ. It didn't look easy. It was not successful. He had 12 targets for 49 total yards, I think what it was. So it was not easy to do. And I think it speaks a little bit to not only where AJ is as a player, but one thing we've talked about a lot, us three, and I'm sure you two on the midday show quite a bit, is the relationship between Jalen and AJ. And I've been hesitant to say that it's impacting them on the field because obviously they've won the Super Bowl. They win a lot of games. But we're all probably being a little naive to the fact that on a game where they tried to get the ball to AJ as much as they could, and we know that him and Jalen are not on the same page off the field, they had no success doing it. Like if we're going to believe that AJ is going to turn it around, then they got to get on the same page because it looked like they were not last week, and it's hard to believe that the off-the-field relationship isn't impacting that somewhat.
Well, just based on their history in terms of on the field when he first got here 4 years ago, Elliot, it has to be, right? I mean, I think about they had a chemistry to them right away when they first started playing together, and it's deteriorated. It's usually in the NFL the opposite. Like I think about these quarterback receiver tandems over the years. Usually the longer you play together, the more you have that kind of chemistry, that rhythm. Elliot, it feels like we're going backwards with this. It feels like Jalen doesn't seem to know where AJ is going to be. Jalen doesn't know exactly, AJ doesn't know exactly where Jalen's going to throw the ball. It feels like it has to be part of it. And we hear them talk each week. It doesn't sound like, Hugh, when they talk, like they actually are talking. It seems like, yeah, we watched film together, but you never hear the two of them say, we sat down together. We worked on this.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing to me. But with all of that being said, they figured out a way, even though it's real dysfunctional, they figured out ways to win football games.
Well, the team is. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They figured out a way to win football games, even when you don't have the quarterback and the receiver talking a whole lot. That which is crazy to me, being in the same huddle with somebody and not really having that kind of communication with them and trying to be successful. It's kind of crazy.
Elliot, it does feel like we're skating on thin ice with that particular aspect of the team. Though. Like eventually it's going to lead to an interception. I mean, there's going to be a moment in a game where if they're not on the same page, something's going to go wrong, and that's probably going to be the moment where everyone realizes it, Elliot.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people this week have said, well, why is there so much focus on what they can't do when they're 8-2, they just won the Super Bowl? And I understand that. But I think the big question with this team right now is why is the offense not very good? Like that is the big question, right? We know the defense is good. We know they win games. They're 8-2, and newsflash, like they'll probably win today, right? Because they win all the time. But if we want to see the best version of this team and them play to their best level on offense, the Jalen to AJ connection absolutely has to be better. I mean, the Devontae connection's working fine. Goddard has having an outstanding year in terms of touchdowns. The only part of the passing game that's struggling really is them trying to get AJ the ball. And again, I don't know the details of Jalen's relationship with Dallas Goedert or Devontae Smith, but pretty much everyone knows that him and AJ don't get along, and it seems like that's the only part of the passing game that's struggling.
It is. It is bizarre. It needs to get going. It should be a good matchup indoors to make that happen. All right, coming up on the other side, we will be joined by Nick Harris from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram to talk about this matchup. This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly born since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Football is all about protection. Protect the ball, the QB, the lead. With Penny, PA's official health insurance marketplace, you can protect yourself with high-quality health coverage, so you're not blindsided by medical bills. It's open enrollment time for all Pennsylvanians to apply, shop, and enroll at penny.com. That's PENNIE.com. Deadline is December 15th. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
It's Ram season at Ross Choate's Norristown Ram Truck Headquarters, and the 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cab 4x4 Bighorn is only $419 a month. $419, or take 0% financing for a full 60 months and make no payments for 90 days. Zero interest and a payment break for the holidays. NorristownRam.com. Now, without the fast talk. Leases 42 months with $48.99 due at signing. Zero financing to qualified buyers. $477 doc fee, tax, and license additional. Let's go Birds.
Yo, Philly, Ike Reese here. You can feel it. The air's cooler, football's hotter, and that means it's tasty cake season. I'm talking about those limited edition fall flavors like pumpkin pie and salted caramel donuts. The perfect game day snack while you're watching the Birds. Whether you're tailgating or kicking back on the couch, make it a win with Tasty Cake. Grab yours before the season ends, and you know the deal. Accept no substitutes.
Hey, it's Mike Quick. It's time to cut your old point-of-sale systems and revolutionize your business with PDQ POS. Joe Flynn and his team at PDQ have been the industry leaders for over 35 years. They offer everything from mobile POS to self-serve kiosks and the best service and support in the industry. For the fastest, easiest, and most reliable POS available, trust PDQ POS. No matter how many locations you have, they'll build a custom solution for your business. Visit pdqpos.com.
Driving a turkey? Don't kill it.
Bring it. All month long, it's the Jets Giving Sales Event at Dell Chevrolet. With the Dell Vehicle Exchange Program, get out of your old car or truck and drive home a new vehicle with the same payment you have now, or maybe one that's even less. Dell Chevy is located on Route 30 in Paoli. Online at DellChevrolet.com. If you're worried you're going to pay too much for your next car, you don't know Jack. Se habla español. Together, let's drive.
Jack, sell them for less.
It's football season. Time to fire up the grill and bring your A game to the tailgate. Whether it's delicious Hatfield bacon to kick off your day or a tender, juicy marinated pork tenderloin sizzling for halftime, Hatfield's got your menu covered for every fan feast. From the coin toss to the final whistle, Hatfield brings bold flavor to every play. Find your game day favorites at simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield, better care, better pork.
In this town, champions aren't born, they're built on the field and in care settings across the region. Brandon Graham here to tell you the Philadelphia Eagles and Jefferson Health are teaming up because they know precision matters, because every moment counts, and because care isn't just about what happens on game day, it's about showing up every day for every person in every neighborhood. We're one team with one goal, to care for this community together. Jefferson Health, champions of care.
The pros know nobody beats FW Web. With extensive inventory, personalized service, and a fleet of trucks across the Northeast, FW Web supports all customers, from one-van contractors to large facility operators. For planned projects, emergency jobs, or maintenance, FW Web has what you need, when and where you need it. For plumbing, heating, HVAC, refrigeration, propane gas, and PVF jobs. With over 100 locations, visit FWWeb.com to find one near you.
Celebrate the Philadelphia Eagles' historic World Championship victory with the official fan jewelry collection from Jason of Beverly Hills. Shop everything from rings and necklaces to bracelets, earrings, and more. All inspired by the 2024 championship rings worn by the team. This exclusive collection honors the heart, grit, and glory of the Eagles' triumph on football's biggest stage. Don't miss your chance to own a piece of Eagles history. See the entire line now at jasonofbh.com/Eagles. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio with you. Elliot will rejoin us coming up in a little bit. Right now, we're going to talk to Nick Harris from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram to learn more about this Cowboys team. Nick, how you doing today?
Doing well, fellas. Y'all got me?
We got you, Nick. Excited to have you on and excited to talk about this game, which has become a big one here. You know, a few weeks ago, with the way the Cowboys are going, I was like, well, this is not going to be as big of a game. But now it has that bigger game feel with the Eagles, of course, at 8-2, and Dallas 4-5-1. It does feel like the next 5 days or so are going to decide this Cowboys season. Nick, tell us where this team is at right now coming off their win Monday night over the Raiders.
Yeah, you said it. These next 5 days are huge. Very little margin for error for this team the rest of the way through. You look at these next 7 games, they can really only afford one loss the rest of the way. And with 2 physical teams, the Eagles, the Chiefs, and then the Lions 7 days after the Chiefs, they're really going to have to get through this next stretch with, 2-1 at the very least.
Nick, when you look at this Cowboys team, what's the biggest change and how much better are they on defense in the last couple weeks? I mean, the Quinnen Williams trade obviously was the headliner here, but it feels like just watching them Monday compared to watching them maybe 4 weeks ago, I felt like it was half the defense was different than I remembered it the last time I saw them.
Yeah, certainly so. And I think they found something in that loss against the Cardinals on Monday night prior to the bye week. They experimented a lot with 5-man fronts and even double mug linebacker looks. And whenever they were able to acquire Quinnen Williams and then throw DeMarvion Overshown into the mix, throw Logan Wilson into the mix, it has really helped this entire defense. Those 5-man fronts were used even more against the Raiders last week. And when you have 3 defensive tackle talents like Kenny Clark, Osa Digizua, and Quinnen Williams, you can use those 5-man fronts with a lot more efficiency. And so it's opening up guys like Donovan Ezeraku, the rookie out of Boston College, and Jadeveon Clowney for a lot more one-on-one opportunities on the edges. And so that's where it starts for me when I look at how this defense has improved over the course of the last, I would say, 5.5 quarters. But the one question that's been asked all week, was it just the Raiders or is there something actually to buy into? We're going to find out today against this Philadelphia offensive line for sure.
Yeah, we will. Nick, let's talk about the other side of the football, the Dallas Cowboys offense. I mean, you look across the board with statistics and rankings, and whether it be advanced numbers or just the raw points per game, they're lighting it up, and especially at home. Are you surprised the offense has been this great? I didn't look. When Dak's healthy, they're usually a good offense, but I didn't see them with Brian Schottenheimer taking over being this good. Are you surprised, and how good are they right now?
Yeah, I would say so. And the big surprise for me this season has been Javonte Williams. During training camp, you never really knew if he was even going to be the RB1. There were at times where he was taking days off because he was already kind of feeling the physicality of the training camp. And, when he was coming off of the injury history that he had in Denver, I didn't know if he could stay healthy for the course of a season, much less be productive. And he has done both. Not only reliability, but the availability has been there for Javonte Williams. And throughout Dak's career, when he has an efficient running game next to him, that's when he's been at his best. He's one of the better play-action quarterbacks by metrics on PFF or NFL Pro throughout the course of his career and certainly this season. And they've been able to utilize that play-action a lot more with the success of Javonte Williams. I think it starts there, and then you look at the butterfly effect about how that affects the other guys. Jake Ferguson is top 10 in the NFL in receptions. There's been a lot of opportunities for him over the middle of the field. And then George Pickens, what an addition that's been for this team. When CeeDee Lamb went down for those 3 games, I think it did a lot of good for this offense to really get George Pickens involved so that when CeeDee Lamb came back, they had those 2 guys at their max usage, and Dak Prescott's been able to connect with both of those guys quite well. Dak just has a lot of weapons right now, and I think if you're looking at the one possible negative of this Dallas Cowboys offense, I think it's their offensive line. And you look at both tackles, the second-year man Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma, their first-round pick in 24, and then Terrence Steele, who a couple of weeks ago, coaches were saying he's embroiled in the middle of a right tackle competition with another second-year player in Nate Thomas. He played well against the Raiders last week, but if he does not play well to start this game here today, do not be surprised if they throw in Nate Thomas at right tackle instead.
Nick, how much do you take away from the first time these teams played each other? It was in week 1. From my memory of the game, it was a weird night. I mean, first Jalen Carter gets thrown out before. Yeah, Spitgate, the first offensive snap of the game. And then that delay in the third quarter, which lasted about an hour, felt like it just threw both sides off after that. What your thought on that game and how it plays into today?
Yeah, what a weird one for sure to kick off the season and on that first Thursday night. And yeah, maybe bring a spit cup with him onto the field. Dak Prescott was asked earlier in the week, does he feel like there's going to be added extra motivation from Jalen Carter? And he's like, yeah, I would expect it. Not only is it a divisional game, but he didn't get the chance to do this the last time around. And then also I go back to Tyler Booker, their first-round right guard, who was selected in April's draft. When he was asked, hey, who's the one player you're looking forward to facing up with the most? He said Jalen Carter, and Jalen Carter saw that message. So I'm curious to see what their matchup looks like today. But, so many differences on both defenses in my eyes, not only on the Cowboys side, adding Quinnen Williams, getting DeMarvion Overshown and Savone Revel back from injury over the course of the last couple of weeks, but also on the Philly side, adding a guy like Jalen Phillips. You all have seen the impact he's been able to provide for that front, and the Cowboys are certainly having to, adjust for that too, and what kind of added element he brings to that front. Brian Schottenheimer earlier in the week called the Philly defensive line the best defensive front in football, and he's going to have a big task in stopping it tonight.
Nick, when you look at this matchup and what's gone on with the Eagles, just your view on the Eagles' offense as they go into this game, because we're in this, right, and we spend every day talking about it, and there's a lot of consternation here on why they can't get the pass game going. There's all this stuff out there in the media about Jalen Hurts and whether or not he's beloved in the locker room. Look, all I know is they win every game, but I do know this: the offense has not been as efficient as they need it to be. It has not been as explosive. What do you view when you view the Eagles? Because sometimes I think we get in our bubble here. Do you think they have some real issues, or do you think it's just us kind of overblowing an 8-2 football team?
This is my 30,000-foot view, so yeah, if this is a point that's been regurgitated, then I apologize. But they kind of remind me of the Chiefs from last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting wins in these one-score games. They're beating good teams, but you wonder if their luck is maybe going to run up against some better teams in the playoffs. And then the offense can't quite sustain success over the course of a few weeks. Chiefs had the same problems last year, so it reminds me a lot of all the dialogue that was thrown around Kansas City last year with that group. But when you have playmakers like Devontae Smith, like Jalen Hurts, like A.J. Brown. Doesn't matter if they're happy, sad, mad, angry. It doesn't matter. As long as you can get those guys the football, typically good things happen. And then that offensive line, as long as it can stay healthy, man, I do still feel like this is one of the more lethal offenses in the NFL. But, locker room things, sometimes it could take down some really good teams, and you hope that's not the case here for the Eagles just because of all the talent that they do have. You want to see them reach their max potential.
Nick, one of the things that has been pretty prevalent in this division for a very long time is the Cowboys at home with Dak Prescott. We saw the number this week, and it kind of blew me away when I saw it. The Cowboys haven't lost a divisional home game with Dak under center since 2017. That game, of course, was the Eagles on their way to their first Super Bowl in 2017. They blew them out. But and we're talking about 8 years here. That is a very long time. And you play 3 a year. I know he's had some injuries, but that is a remarkable statistic.
Yeah, he's a film psychopath, and so it doesn't surprise me whenever he does play multiple opponents in a season, whether it be divisional or he catches a playoff opponent whenever this team feels like making the playoffs in the wild card or the divisional round, that he's able to find success after seeing them earlier in the season. But it's still really impressive, the dominance that he's had in the division over the course of his career. And anytime that Dak is under center in a divisional game, even like this one today where the Eagles are favored, that home sideline feels pretty good about it.
Nick, what is the atmosphere in Dallas heading into this game? Like, are fans starting to believe that they're turning a corner and they're going to make a run these next few weeks? Or is this a matter of yeah, we beat the Raiders, but here come the Cowboys and the Chiefs and the Lions, and this thing's going to be a wrap in about 14 days?
Hey, Jerry Jones, he's the best hopium dealer this side of the Mississippi. So, yeah, these fans certainly are buying in some ways. But I think there are a lot more pessimistic fans that you would look at, too, and being like, look, it's 4-5-1. They would really have to, and I wouldn't say pessimistic, probably more realistic. They would have to go 6-1 down this stretch to even have a shot at making the playoffs at 10-6-1. And so I think if you talk to even some of the most optimistic fans, they'll probably look at it and be like, look, probably don't get into the playoffs this year, but there's a lot of things to build with this group, especially on the defensive side of the ball where they had so many issues early in the season. Adding these pieces, there's a lot of anticipation toward 2026 in talking to fans, but there's even still a good faction that believe there's a shot here this year. It's just the room for error, again, is so small.
Nick, what's your view on what kind of game we're going to get today? Because, the Eagles the last 2 games have played some really good teams with good quarterbacks and Jordan Love on the road in Green Bay, and they played the Lions here last week. Now, the weather played a role in that game, but they shut those offenses down. On the other side, it seems like nobody shuts the Cowboys offense, and especially down in Dallas. When you look at the game today, are you expecting more of a low-scoring game with the Eagles' defense kind of leading the way, or do you think this is going to be the team that gets into the upper 20s, wins the game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very similar game to what we saw in Week 1, that 24-20. I think it's going to be kind of somewhere in that range. But, it's funny you mentioned the Eagles' defensive dominance, and I know I've mentioned it already a couple of times. This game, in my eyes, is dictated between the Cowboys' offensive line versus the Eagles' defensive line. Whoever wins that matchup, I think, wins this ball game. I think it's going to be a physical game, one in the trenches, and, those games typically find themselves in the 20s and high teens.
They do. Nick, we appreciate you hopping on here. Nick Harris from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Enjoy the game, and we'll catch up down the line. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
Have a good one.
There he goes. Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star-Telegram there. It's interesting the way Hugh framed the matchup. He thinks it's really about the Cowboys' offensive line against the Eagles' defensive line. If we can get pressure on Dak, we got it. The one thing, though, that's different than last week, Jared Goff had no chance to get away, right?
No.
He can't move. He can't scramble.
Dak can scramble a little bit.
Dak can move.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the factor, man. But the one thing that I like about our defense, those perimeter guys are pretty fast.
Yep.
With Jalen Phillips and Nolan Smith out there, that's what when you have a quarterback like Jordan Love, that's what helped keep him in the pocket. So this is going to be strength on strength.
It's going to be, and today's going to be really. I'm surprised at how well Adoree Jackson's played lately. Because in the beginning of the year, I was ready to move off him and be done. But Hugh, today's a huge test for Adoree.
He's going to be because if he's going against George Pickens could be somewhat of a bully. Joe.
George Pickens is second in the NFL in yards receiving.
Yeah, he could be a little bit of a bully, so it's going to be a tough task for him.
Well, and also there's no, you go to the Green Bay game and it's cold and Love is off and pressure, and you go to last week and the weather and the wind and Goff was off. Like today, if Adoree Jackson plays well today, we've really turned a corner here, and it looks like he's going to, be a solid player for the Eagles down the stretch of the season. It's a big, big task for him coming up today. All right, on the other side, we will be joined by Dave Spadaro to talk about how the Eagles replace Lane Johnson on the offensive line and what to expect today down in Dallas. This is the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Have you always wanted an attractive, healthy smile? Well, PI Dental Center is the place for you. I've been a patient for 24 years, and PI Dental Center has been transforming smiles for 38 years. Board-certified specialists, Dr. Glenn Wolfinger and Dr. Robert Slough, perform complex dental makeovers with their Teeth-in-a-Day protocol, where dental implants are placed and restored with fixed teeth in just one day. If you're looking for a smile that's monumental, trust PI Dental Center. Visit PIDentalCenter.com. That's PIDentalCenter.com.
Massive Black Friday savings are happening now at Bucks County Estate Traders. From November 25th through December 1st, take advantage of up to 50% off store-wide. Explore high-quality, one-of-a-kind furniture, the perfect pieces to elevate any room this season. And if you're shopping for a holiday gift, you'll find something special here. Shop BucksCountyEstateTraders.com or visit the Hatfield Showroom, open 7 days. Bucks County Estate Traders, where quality meets your style. Exclusions apply.
The working families of La Una Labor's District Council of Pennsylvania, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia are proud contributors to all aspects of growth in this great city. The Labor's District Council provides safe, well-trained, productive workers who enable projects to be done on time and under budget. We appreciate our signatory contractors and their commitment to fairness and equality. Laborers, we're building a better future today.
Brought to you by the Laborers District Council Licit Fund. The Piazza Auto Group is proud to have served as the halftime sponsor of the Eagles Radio Network for over 20 years. As we hope for another championship, it's the perfect time to drive home in the new or certified pre-owned vehicle you've been wanting. The Piazza Auto Group features 18 brands, including Honda, Acura, Mazda, Hyundai, Genesis, Mini, Nissan, Subaru, and Volkswagen. To find the location nearest you or to shop their extensive inventory, visit PiazzaAutoGroup.com.
Hi, this is Merrill Reese. My wife Cindy and I had a new roof installed by Impriano Roofing, Siding, and Windows, and we're delighted. When it comes to your roof, good planning is essential. Jack Impriano and his 4 sons are a true family business, serving our area for over 5 decades, using only the best CertainTeed products. If you need a new roof, call Jack Impriano Roofing. Online at Impriano.com. It's good to hire Jack and his team. Remember, the best homes have an Impriano roof.
Driving in a Honda Wonderland. It's that time of year again. Happy Honda Days, where you can drive in a Honda Wonderland of your own with a great offer on a fun-to-drive new Accord, Civic, CR-V, or HR-V. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Accord or a 2026 CRV, a 4.99% APR on a 2026 Civic, or a 3.49% APR on a 2026 HRV.
Contact your local Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details. Exclude Civic Si and Type R.
The best gatherings always start in the kitchen, so get yours ready for the holidays with Kitchen Magic. This fall, take advantage of our biggest discount ever, up to 30% off kitchen cabinets or refacing, and 50% off bathroom installation. Every Kitchen Magic design is American-made and manufactured in Nazareth, PA, tariff-proof and built with care by a family-owned team since 1979. With over 60,000 happy customers and interest-free financing available, there's no better time to transform your home. Visit kitchenmagic.com today and make this fall truly magical.
In Philly, we go all out for what we believe in. And at Lincoln Financial, we're no different. Since 2003, we've been proudly flying alongside Eagles fans everywhere. Since 1905, we've been helping Americans with retirement, protection, and benefit solutions built to last. 120 years in, and just like the birds, we have no plans on slowing down. Lincoln Financial, the name behind the link. Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates. Copyright 2025.
This Eagles season, get in the game at Acme and enter the Swoop In and Win sweepstakes for your chance to win Eagles tickets, autographed jerseys, helmets, or more. Download the Acme app or visit acmemarkets.com/swoopinandwin for more details. Plus, save 5% when you shop on game days wearing your Eagles apparel. Acme makes sure Eagles fans have all their game day needs. Don't miss the featured football items of the week. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, or Cheez-It crackers, all 2 for $5. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is the Verizon Pregame Show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio. Coming up in a little bit, Femi Abebefe will join us, his take on the game from a gambling perspective. Right now, though, we talk to Dave Spadaro, Eagles insider, as we get ready for a big road game down in Dallas. And, Dave, the Eagles have the task today of replacing Lane Johnson, which usually isn't easy, but it does feel like Fred Johnson's probably up for the task these days.
Yeah, I mean, Fred's experienced. He knows what's expected of him. He's not going to flinch in a pressure situation. He's just not Lane Johnson. And so how does that impact the play calling, the running to the edges? Because I firmly believe that success for the Eagles' run game today comes to the edges, not against Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. So really large responsibility for him. And the Eagles have options when they go to 6 offensive linemen. They can go with Matt Pryor. They can go with Cam Latu. They can, use bigger players on that side. So I'm interested to see how the Eagles adjust. But clearly, in the past, the Eagles' record has been very, very abysmal without Lane Johnson, and I think the Eagles are fairly well equipped today to handle it. I just don't know how this impacts what Patullo and Hurts want to do.
So let's talk about that 6 offensive lineman set, Dave. What is your perspective on how Lane being out is going to change it and how much they use it? So last week, and I know the injury happened within the game to Lane, so they've had a week to prepare here for this, but last week, Matt Pryor got 4 snaps in the game, and then Fred took over for Lane Johnson. It seemed like they didn't use as much of the 6 offensive lineman set, but that was something they were using a lot, let's say 3 weeks ago. I imagine they want to use that as part of the offense. Do you think it's as simple as, hey, next man up, or maybe we'll see less of that without Lane?
I would think you'd see less of it.
Yeah.
I mean, where you lose is athletic ability. I mean, when Fred comes in and you team him with Lane, you have 2 extremely athletic offensive linemen, and Pryor's just not that kind of player. And it also gives, defenses bring an extra linebacker in, and you can throw out of that formation or that personnel package. So it definitely changes things for the Philadelphia Eagles in a lot of ways. And so, again, I think that the success comes running to the edges, and to me, throwing the football in a vertical kind of approach, and to do that, you need some time. So it's definitely a challenge. I mean, Lane Johnson has allowed exactly 0 knockdowns of the quarterback this season. I think he's the only offensive lineman to have that lofty number. So you are, arguably missing the very best right tackle in all of the NFL.
Dave, you mentioned athleticism and running to the edge. I'm curious your thought on what the Eagles have gotten so far from Tank Bigsby. And do you think we'll see some more? I mean, obviously Saquon is the guy, and he's the bell cow, and he's going to get 90% of the snaps. But I have been impressed with the what I've seen out of Tank when he comes on the field.
Yeah.
I just wonder if you think that there might be a game this year or soon, maybe today, where instead of 2 or 3 carries, it's 4 or 5, just to see if he could break one.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, he's definitely bringing it. He's extremely aggressive. He's running without any hesitation. He's running violently. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. His yards per carry is impressive. He's had big plays and he's found success and he's running really, really well to the edges. And I don't know, maybe when he's on the field, defenses don't quite stack the box as much. I mean, it seems like whenever Saquon has the football, he's got very little breathing room, except when he's run to the edges. And so, yeah, I could see them using Bigsby, and he's also a good receiver. So, and he's also actually he's good in pass pro. So we've seen him in those situations as well. And I have no problem with Tank Bigsby getting a little bit more play time, and he's deserved it.
Hugh, what do you think of that? I mean, it does feel like there's there's explosion to him when he comes in the game, right? And it's limited. It's been a few carries here or there, and he had the big game against the Giants. But when he comes in, it seems like boom, it's like 7 or 8 yards, boom.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where that's where a lot of people started questioning whether or not it was Saquon has fallen off a little bit. It's just the change of flow. It's something about putting that other back in when you have a primary back,
right,
that changes the ebb and flow of the football game. That's what basically happens. And if that's going to get this offensive spark or give this offensive spark, then why not?
Yeah, and I think right now any spark they could get is a big spark.
Definitely need it.
Dave, now the spark has come from the defense. The defense has been carrying this football team. I want to ask you about up front how Vic Fangio is using these guys, because all these pieces are now coming together. The addition of Jalen Phillips and Brandon Graham coming back. It does feel to me like the snap count for Nolan Smith since he came back has been lower than it was before. Do you think that is a matter of he's working his way back into football shape and they're kind of going to gradually increase them? Or is his role a little bit different now with Jalen Phillips on this team?
I mean, Jalen Phillips, I don't want to take Jalen Phillips off the field.
Right,
I mean, I've never seen – Hugh, you speak to this better than I, but the way he sets the edge, the array of moves, working last week against Penei Sewell against the Lions, an all-pro player. He dominated him. And, using a 5-man front, I think Jalix Hunt has stepped up his game as well. And so Nolan Smith is playing his role, playing it well, but there's just not as many reps there with the emergence of Hunt and the addition of Phillips. I mean, Phillips is a dominating, game-changing player. The Eagles are in a good situation there. Brandon Graham he told me this week, he thinks he's going to play a few more snaps, so I'm interested to see what that means. Does that mean he's going to slide inside in pass rush situations and give the Eagles a little bit more punch inside? I think he played 6 snaps last week, so I'm going to kind of count his reps today. But there are options up front, and I think that Vic has used them very, very well, and this is the strength of this football team. And today they got to get after Dak Prescott with 4 and no more than 5, or the secondary is going to be really taxed.
Yeah, they will.
They'll throw it at Dory Jackson all day long today in AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one of the ways that they could get to Dak, and you mentioned the front 4, Dave, I continue to be super impressed with the progression here of Moro Ojomo. I mean, the Eagles clearly knew they had something. I think it's part of the reason why they were comfortable, letting Milton Williams walk for a huge contract to free agency, that this guy was on his way. And we were there in training camp a lot, and it felt like he was. But just to watch him do it this season, I mean, he really this year has taken a leap from, we think he could play, to, he's one of the better pass rushing defensive tackles in the whole league now.
That's exactly right. He is very quick off the ball. His win rate in pass rush is high. He's a smart kid, obviously, technically sound, tough. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he really, really plays with great, aggression. He plays with excellent technique. He plays low. The Eagles have developed him nicely. This is a kind of a kid, a late round draft pick that you developed. You wait a little bit for him, and he becomes an outstanding football player. That is how you win championships. When they've really hit high draft picks well these last several years, and some of these low picks have really made big strides, and Morrow is one of them. And again, that group is as good as any right now playing in the NFL.
Yeah, he's been awesome, and they've needed him to step up and be this kind of player. Dave, last one for you. The game itself is going to be fun. A lot at stake, but it's going to be fun to watch the Eagles wear the Kelly Green on the road in Dallas. Yep. This is the first. So since they brought it back a few years ago, this is our first one on the road, Dave. It's going to be a different look when they take the field here in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, keep your eye on all the Kelly Green in the stands. There's going to be a lot of it. There's always a bunch of Eagles fans here. The Eagles are 5-0 wearing the Kelly Green. I love what the league is doing, allowing teams to wear the alternate jersey on the road. It makes it fun. And heck, let's see if there's a home field advantage for the Eagles in this ballgame. I mean, I think Cowboys fans kind of gave up on this team a couple of weeks ago. And I know there are a lot of Eagles fans in Arlington, Texas, getting ready for this football game. I think that this is going to be a lot of Kelly Green in the stands. It should be fantastic visual on television.
Cannot
and on the
wait.
radio when you're listening to Mike. And Mike and Merrill will bring you the color on the radio here.
Oh, there it is. The color of the color, and the Kelly Green is the color today. Dave, we appreciate you hopping on as always. We will talk to you soon. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the game. And let's go Birds. Thank you, Dave.
Go Birds.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, too. Thanks, guys.
There he goes. Dave Spadaro. All right, coming up, Femi Abebefe will join us. The betting angle on the game. Who does he like? We'll talk to Femi coming up next. This is the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Just like our offensive line protects our star quarterback, plumbers protect the health of the nation. And Philadelphia Plumbers Union Local 690 is no different. In hospitals, commercial, industrial, and residential, with the best trained plumbers in the world, you can be sure your project is done on time and on budget, no matter how big or small. So when your business needs to build new or expand existing facilities, you can count on the members of Plumbers Union Local 690. Visit plumbers690.org.
There's no need to wait. The time is always right at Colonial Hyundai. We have over 200 vehicles in stock, including new Palisades, Konas, and Tucsons. Here at Colonial Hyundai, we take the stress out of buying a new car. Big trade incentives are the best financing in the business, no matter your credit, with rates as low as 0%. Plus, we streamline the buying process so you can be in and out of our dealership in no time. Shop us online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com or visit us on Lincoln Highway in Downingtown. Colonial Hyundai, the fast, easy, better way to buy a Hyundai.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. The holiday season is in full swing, and the showcases at Family and Company Jewelers are stocked and ready to go. Do yourself a favor and get to their showroom on Route 70 in Marlton, New Jersey. It's an amazing showroom. You got to see it. Incredible. And guys, if you're planning on popping the question this year, and I know a lot of you are, Family and Company Jewelers can help you guide that buying process. A pair of diamond stud earrings, another option. Check off your whole list with one-stop shopping at Family and Company Jewelers, South Jersey's holiday diamond destination.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious. With multiple engine options and impressive towing, while Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability, making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
You planned the perfect holiday, but your heater just went kaput and crashed the party. That's when you call WM Henderson Heating and Cooling for help, because it can get pretty cold this time of year. And with a broken heater, inside can start to feel more like the outside. And no one likes outside temperature mashed potatoes. Good thing WM Henderson works fast to get the festivities feeling warm and cozy again with no emergency service fee, even on holidays. Plus, we're helping you save with up to $1,150 in rebates and 0% interest financing. Book WMHenderson.com today.
Where will Jalen look this year? Left, right, over the middle? He's a smart guy. He'll be looking for the Deborah Heart and Lung Center Red Zone, and with good reason. Like the Birds, Deborah has raised the bar on cardiac excellence by being named a high-performing hospital by U.S. News and World Report. And our alliance with Cleveland Clinic Heart, Vascular, and Thoracic Institute means that our patients get the highest quality of care that they deserve. After all, when it's your heart, your red zone, you don't take chances. DemandDeborah.org.
The working families of La Una Labor's District Council of Pennsylvania, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia are proud contributors to all aspects of growth in this great city. The Labor's District Council provides safe, well-trained, productive workers who enable projects to be done on time and under budget. We appreciate our signatory contractors and their commitment to fairness and equality. Laborers, we're building a better future today.
Brought to you by the Laborers District Council Licit Fund. Piazza Premium Automobiles is proud to serve as the halftime sponsor of the Eagles radio network as the team drives for another championship. Experience the ultimate luxury in a new or certified pre-owned vehicle from Piazza Premium Automobiles with exclusive brands like Land Rover, Jaguar, Porsche, BMW, Infiniti, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and Mercedes-Benz. You are sure to elevate your drive. Find the Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey location nearest you. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com.
You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio, joined now by Odyssey Sports Betting Insider, You Better Your Bets, Femi Abebefe. Femi, how you doing today?
Femi.
I'm doing great, guys. You know, it's a really interesting week of football. We got some good games going on right now, the week before Thanksgiving. So this is, as Bill Parcells always said, this is when you start to learn what these teams are actually all about. And I think we're learning some pretty big stuff in this early window so far.
It does feel like then. If Femi, we're going to learn more about the Eagles and Cowboys starting at 4:25, and the line on this game has been interesting to watch as the week went on. I think I saw a 5.5 Monday before the Cowboys played. Then it became 4.5 after they won, and it's moved down this week. And I'm looking right now. I see the Cowboys and Eagles a 3-point line. The Eagles as the favorite, but it has changed over the course of the week from where it was. What's your take on the game and the line movement on this game?
Yeah, I think this is a lot of optimism about the Dallas Cowboys defense. You know, they came out of the bye week this past Monday. They took on the Raiders, which, of course, it's important to note the context of that game. The Raiders are barely an NFL team, if we're being completely honest. And the Cowboys, though, with the additions that they made, Quinnen Williams, obviously an impact player at the defensive tackle spot. They get back Siobhan Revell, their rookie corner. So their defense looked improved. But my pushback with that is that, once again, it's against the Las Vegas Raiders. And, yeah, Philadelphia obviously has their issues, and I'm sure you guys have been talking about all week long with the reports about frustration in the locker room with Jalen Hurts, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, let's look up and see a team that's 8-2 and still the 1 seed in the NFC. So I think it's a really interesting game and a very interesting betting market. And for me, as somebody who likes to dabble, I'm laying it with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to make the Dallas Cowboys prove to me that they're actually improved, and it wasn't just playing the Raiders this past Monday. So to me, it's an Eagles bet because I think the Eagles are just a much better team, and you can trust them in these close games as opposed to what we've seen from Dallas over the years.
Yeah, they certainly are trustworthy. We saw it against Detroit last week and the Packers the week before. Femi, let's talk about some of these 4 o'clock games that will kick off around the same time of the Eagles and who you like there. I mean, there's going to be a lot of eyes. Here in Philadelphia, our eyes are on the Eagles Cowboys, but nationally, I'm sure there'll be a lot of eyes on the Raiders and Browns for one reason. The first start in Shedeur Sanders' career. How do you view that game, Browns-Raiders?
I'm surprised the NFL didn't flex this into Sunday Night Football with the amount of interest in Shedeur Sanders. I actually like the Cleveland Browns, funny enough. You know, Shedeur's making his first start. It's on the road. That's usually not an ideal spot for a rookie quarterback. And look, let's be honest. What we saw last Sunday against Baltimore was poor. But once again, he didn't have the first-team reps and the preparation, et cetera, and he got thrown into the fire there. This will be much different this week. Obviously, the game plan is centered around what he does well, and they've had this entire week to get him ready to roll for this Raiders defense that is not good at all outside of Max Crosby. And I think the most important part of the handicap with this game is the best unit on the field is the Browns defense, and it's by a country mile. Myles Garrett and that pass rush is going to unleash hell on Geno Smith. I mean, like we saw the Cowboys getting a lot of success getting to Geno Smith. What do you think Myles Garrett's going to do? He might break the single-season sack record today with 8 sacks at this point. But I think the Browns keep the game competitive. Feels like a coin flip game. So I'll take the 4 points. I'll take even the 3.5 points as we see it right now at a couple of sports books.
How about another 4 o'clock game? Jaguars-Cardinals. It's an interesting one that Jaguars are favored and they have a good record, but every time I watch them, I'm like, I don't know how they're winning these football games. What's your take on this game?
Yeah, I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars are good, and I'm not buying the performance last Sunday. I think that was more about the Los Angeles Chargers offensive line being completely decimated and having to go across the country on the road. Just a terrible spot for the Chargers. And just when you want to buy into Jacksonville, because I know I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, man, the Jaguars, look what they can do. Maybe they can be competitive. That's when they always let you down. This, to me, is a Cardinals win. I think the Cardinals just win the game outright. I bet them on the money line earlier this week. Love the spot. As to me, it feels like we're getting them a little bit cheap here since they're coming off 2 embarrassing losses to the Seahawks and to the 49ers in back-to-back weeks. So like the Cardinals in this spot, I think they get it done with the Jaguars having to make that trip across the country, going to the desert.
Last one for you, Femi, quickly. What kind of game you think we're getting today in terms of a total down in Dallas? Because the Eagles' defense has been great, but the weather has seemingly played a role in their dominance the last 2 weeks. Now, if they could dominate this Cowboys offense on a fast track indoors, that would be something. Do you think this will be a lower scoring game the way the Eagles like to play, or is it going to be higher scoring, typically the way the Cowboys do down at home?
I do think it'll be a lower scoring game. You know, the Eagles defense, I think, is for real. Like, I'm not really too concerned about, like, the Cowboys offense indoors. And the Cowboys have been pretty explosive offensively with what Dak and Pickens and CeeDee Lamb have been able to do. But still, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive front, I think, can make life difficult for Dak Prescott. And the way the secondary's played, too. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell, the guy's looking like an all-pro.
He certainly is. Femi Abebefe. This is the Eagles Radio Network presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
The Eagles played lights out in prime time.
I thought we played an amazing game. Man, all those fourth down stops, that's how you win football games.
Flying to the top of the NFC.
We take pride in winning. Our team's waiting to win.
Today, it's round 2 in Texas.
You know, these guys don't like us and we don't like them.
For a duel with Dallas. Today's game is sponsored in part by PNC Bank, PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Systems, Verizon, NovaCare Rehabilitation, your Delaware Valley Honda dealers, Deborah Heart and Lung Center, Acme, and Piazza Auto Group. You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.
Welcome to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles, as we have a big one today. The Eagles at 8-2, the Cowboys at 4-5-1, a 4:25 kickoff down in Dallas alongside Hugh Douglas and Elliot Shore Parks. I'm Joe Giglio. As the Eagles try to get another victory, and one with big stakes today, Hugh, is if the Eagles win this game, they go to 9-2, and they can actually, by Friday, if things go their way, with a win over the Cowboys and then a win here in Philadelphia over the Bears on Friday, coupled with a Cowboys loss on Thanksgiving, Hugh, that would clinch the NFC East on Black Friday.
Yeah, master of your own destiny. That's a great place to be in, man. You haven't been playing well, but if you can wrap up the division by Black Friday, that would be awesome.
Elliot, it's pretty amazing. All these great Eagles years they've had recently. But this is the first time of any of them that the division and all this in front of them could be wrapped up this early. This is pretty rare. Usually they have to go down to the end, even in their great years, to win a division. Not this year, does it feel like?
Yeah, obviously, I think we would all agree the goals for this team are bigger than the division. But it is worth noting, to your point, no team has won the division in, 20 years now? 20-plus years since a team has repeat in the division. But also, the Eagles have only won playoff games in back-to-back years once since you played for the team, back in the early 2000s. So I know everyone, and I'm included, I think they can go to the Super Bowl. I think they are going to the Super Bowl. But winning the division back-to-back and then presumably, winning a playoff game, these are two things the team has not been very good at. So an accomplishment I don't think anybody will celebrate, but certainly a noteworthy accomplishment.
Well, and it's the first one on the one to the bigger one, which of course would be, a top 1 or 2 seed, but one preferably, Elliot. And you've mentioned this a lot recently, and it is important to note that they haven't won road playoff games in this era. They've won their home playoff games, and typically when the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, they have home field advantage. Now, Elliot, they didn't need it last year, but they kind of got it, right? Because when the Lions lost as the 1 seed, it gave the Eagles then home field, and they played all their playoff games at home. It does feel like a huge thing they're going to be fighting for down the stretch of the season to try to get that, because the way I view the Seahawks and the Rams, I don't think those two teams are going to lose many games when they're not playing each other, so it's probably going to take 13 or 14 wins to get there.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Seahawks at all from a matchup perspective. I think if the Eagles had to go to Seattle and play them, I get it's not ideal. And again, it is noteworthy if not won a road playoff game. But Sam Darnold is the exact opposite of Jalen Hurts. Sam Darnold is a classic choke artist. We saw it last week, 4 interceptions in a big game. Unlike Jalen, he does play his worst football in big games. Jalen's the exact opposite. So I would pick Jalen Hurts to beat Sam Darnold in a playoff game. For me, it's about the Rams. And I do think going to L.A. and playing in the playoffs wouldn't be an end-of-the-world hard task. I'm sure there will be a lot of Eagles fans there, I think, in a dome, and hopefully we see that today. This Eagles offense is really able to show what it can do without dealing with weather. But the flip side of that is if you get the 1 seed and the Rams have to come to Philadelphia, we saw last year, right? I mean, the weather could absolutely be an impact in that game. And Stafford, as well as he's playing, he is an older player. I will take my chances against the Rams in the cold in Philadelphia. So I do think the number 1 seed is even more imperative in some ways than it was other years.
I agree, and the weather is a big part of it. I mean, the Eagles play ugly games, Hugh, and the weather can make the game ugly like it was against the Lions. All right, let's talk about the defense here for the Eagles. And how are we fully there? Are we fully convinced they have become this great? Hugh, how good or great do you think this Eagles defense is right now? Because, the first 2 months of the season, they had some good games, but they also did not have some good games. And now, in the last 2 games, they've played their best. Are you convinced they are now this?
I think they're trending in that direction.
Okay.
I think this game will tell you exactly where they are because now you're talking about playing against 3 high-powered offenses, and it all depends on what they hold them to today. And if you have that going for you, then you have something, especially when you have this offense not hitting on all cylinders like it needs to be right now. If your defense is playing as well as they played in the last couple of weeks, I think you can actually say that they are trending in that direction.
Elliot, I think it was last week during the pregame show, you said something to the effect of this defense right now is better than last year's or on the same par. And for the reaction was like, come on. And then they went out there and held the Lions, who averaged 31 points a game, to 9. Where are you on this defense? And are you convinced that the defense we've seen the last 2 weeks is who they are now?
Yeah, I think it is who they are. And I think the reason to believe is because the personnel has changed. I mean, since the beginning of the year and the last time these 2 teams played in Week 1, they've added Jalen Phillips. Brandon Graham is now on the team. Nolan Smith played in Week 1 against the Cowboys, but he missed the majority of the first part of the season. Jalix Hunt, I think, is a way better player now than he was in Week 1. Moro Jomo is. Jalen Carter didn't even play in the game the last time these 2 teams played. Now, that was his own doing, but he didn't play in the game. So I do think this defense is better than last year's defense. They don't have the Super Bowl ring yet, obviously. But I think last year they kind of got by. Not that they weren't a great defense, because they were. But it is very, very hard to be a consistently great defense in the NFL without consistent pass rush. And last year they did not get great pass rush really until the playoffs and in those final 2 games. Outside of that, they won because their linebackers were awesome. Quinyon Mitchell was unbelievable. Darius Slay played well. Cooper DeJean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Like, they had a good back 7. But that's just not a way, in my opinion, to have a prolonged great defense. The way the Eagles are playing defense now, this is how you have a great defense. You win with the defensive line. They win at the line of scrimmage. They stop the run. They've been unbelievable against the run the past few weeks. They consistently get to the quarterback. Jalen Phillips has been doing that. And then as a result, that back 7 can really show off their talent because they're getting help up front. So, again, they have to go and prove they can do it in the playoffs. That last year's defense proved that. When this team has opportunity, we'll see if they can. But I do think this year's defense is better than last year's defense.
Yeah, Elliot, I'm close to being with you. Today is the final piece of that puzzle for me because there's no weather, right? They're like you said earlier when you first hopped on with us, they're in a dome, the way you think football should be played. This is a fast track.
We can see the players at their best today.
Yeah. Well, right, and it's the hardest to stop an offense. So if they shut down this Cowboys offense today, similar to what they did against Detroit and Green Bay, then it's like, whoa.
Well, but I will say, just really quickly, like, it's important to have realistic expectations, too, of what shutting down this Dallas defense is. I mean, I think if you could tell me right now, sign up for 23 points or fewer, I would take that. Like, I think if they can hold them in the mid-20s, that's a good outing today for the defense. Obviously not a special outing. Obviously not an outing where we're talking about, this is the best defense in the NFL. But Dallas in this dome, on this track, they score a ton of points. So this is not a game, 10 or 7 points would be unbelievable. But it is a game where you try to hold them into the low 20s, high teens.
Yeah, it's relative, right? It's not going to be as easy to hold a team to like 9 like last week because there's no weather. Hugh, what part of the Cowboys offense keeps you up at night the most? Like, what's the thing that the Eagles have to focus on the most? Because look at the numbers; they're good at everything right now.
Well, I would probably say Adoree Jackson against George Pickens if that's the matchup.
Well, that was Week 1. They went after Adoree.
Yeah, and how he's grown. He had a pretty good game last week, but I think that's the matchup because we've seen George Pickens, like he can be a little bit of a bully. So if that's the case, that's the one that kind of worries me a little bit, how he's going to hold up.
Elliot, how about for you? Cowboys offense, what's the biggest concern today?
So I think the biggest concern is when they put both Pickens and CeeDee Lamb on the outside. Pickens doesn't go in the slot a ton. We know CeeDee does. He will line up in the slot quite a bit. But if I were the Cowboys, I'd put them both on the outside today and force Adoree to cover one of them. So I would piggyback there off of what Hugh's saying. I do think there is a matchup problem. I would have Quinion follow George Pickens around the field, but when CeeDee goes on the outside, that is a concern. And can I just say one thing quickly about the weather and the offense, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
I do agree the weather was a factor to an extent the last 2 games. But I think we've gone too far in just being like, oh, it was cold and windy, so who cares? They only, scored 10 points or 17 points or whatever it was. Let's not act like this was the greatest show on turf prior to these 2 games outside. I mean, the offense mostly looked like it did the past 2 weeks, the majority of the season. I know they've had times where they've looked better against Minnesota in that second half, Tampa Bay, the Rams second half. Like, they've certainly had moments, the Giants game. But the brand of football we saw the last 2 weeks was way closer to the brand of football and the style of football we saw for the majority of the season, where weather was not a factor every single week. So I get the weather thing. It is a fair point. Today, they're not going to have to deal with it. But I think we're leaning too far on blaming the weather for them playing poorly the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes both ways, Elliot. Like, you're right. We probably are blaming the weather too much for the Eagles' offensive woes. And that's why today is so fascinating for the defense, because they don't have that advantage today, right? Like, if they play well against the Cowboys' offense, they played well, right? There's no, Dak was slipping or the ball was dropped by, like Amon-Ra St. Brown had a few drops last week, probably because of the weather and the wind and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to happen today. So both sides, I actually, Elliot, I'm going to give you this on the dome thing and the indoor. I'm actually glad the elements are out of it today, because I think we'll get a clearer picture on both sides. Like, there's no more excuses now. Like, this is just a regular football game on a fast track.
Well, Joe, hopefully one day we can live in a world where every football game we see does not have to be impacted by a little bit of wind. We can see these elite athletes play their football with no weather to deal with. See everybody at their best.
Yeah, have you ever run this by people in Green Bay? I can't imagine the Lambeau Field people want ever hear this happen.
No, I didn't bring that up when I was in Lambeau. Slapping a dome on Lambeau? No, didn't say that when I was in Green Bay.
Yeah, that feels like it will not go over well. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by a guy who's been in all these stadiums over the years, Merrill Reese, the voice of the Eagles. He will join us next for his take on the game. This is the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Hi, I'm Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. As presenting sponsor of the Eagles Radio Network, PNC Bank loves an exciting game. But we also think a little boring can go a long way. You see, boring banking means you're doing the right things. That is why PNC leaves a third and long to the professionals. Reliable fiscal strategies are more in our zone anyway. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey Eagles fans, Verizon's kicking off big savings, scoring a touchdown with low prices locked in for 3 years guaranteed on my plan. Get a single line for a low price of just $50 a month when you switch and bring your phone on unlimited welcome with auto pay plus taxes and fees. It's a deal that'll have you doing an end zone dance. Don't get flagged for high prices. Huddle up at your local Verizon store today. You'll be tackling savings in no time. Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. $20 monthly credit applied over 36 months and times of congestion. Unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms apply. See store for details.
It's the year-end sales event with the Ford crew.
It's sales event time, Sam.
Temperatures are dropping, but the deals are just getting hot.
Time for our annual Ford Holiday Gift Guide.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to go wrong with great deals on trucks and SUVs from Ford, America's all-time best-selling auto brand.
Don't forget the first rule of holiday gift giving, Hank.
What's that, Sam?
Always remember to treat yourself, too.
Well said.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
Kick off game day the right way this season with Hers, the snack that's rooted in Philly. They've been a hometown favorite for nearly 8 decades and counting. So when you say their first team all flavor, you can taste it. Hers runs a deep roster of unbelievable flavors like zesty, sour cream and onion, sweet and smoky honey barbecue, and slightly spicy jalapeno kettle chips. So next Birds game, you can't help but go for 2. Bags, that is. Hers, rooted in flavor.
Hugh Douglas here, and I know by now you've heard of our new drink, the new Jack Daniel's Tennessee Blackberry Whiskey. It's the real deal, folks. It's bold, vibrant blackberry softened with creamy vanilla, toasted oak, and just a hint of honey. It will be the touchdown of your tailgate this season. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Blackberry, now available at your local fine wine and good spirits. Celebrate responsibly.
This Eagles season, get in the game at Acme and enter their Swoop In and Win sweepstakes for your chance to win Eagles tickets, autographed jerseys, helmets, or more. Download the Acme app or visit acmemarkets.com/swoop in and win for more details. Plus, save 5% when you shop on game days wearing your Eagles apparel. Acme makes sure Eagles fans have all their game day needs. Don't miss the featured football items of the week. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, or Cheez-It crackers, all 2 for $5. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
This holiday, Verizon is helping you bundle up incredible gifts and savings. You'll get the latest phone with a new line on My Plan and a brand new smartwatch and tablet. No trade-in needed, even on our lowest price plan. That's 2 gifts for your family and 1 for you. Or 2 for you and 1 for someone else. Or 3 gifts for you and only you. Either way, you save big on 3 amazing gifts at Verizon. All on the best 5G network. Visit Verizon today. Rankings based on Root Metric Root Score report dated 1/8/2025. Your results may vary. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Additional terms apply.
Game day just got personal. This season, it's not just about showing up, it's about showing out. And as proud partners of the Philadelphia Eagles, Kendra Scott wants to help you bring your own unique style to the sidelines all season long. Shop exclusive green and silver jewelry or customize your own look at Color Bar for the ultimate style showdown. Visit your local Kendra Scott store or kendrascott.com today to build your winning look, where team spirit meets personal style.
Hey everybody, this is Hugh Douglas, and me and my man Joe Giglio. We're going to break down the Eagles tomorrow from 10 to 2 on WIP.
This is the Verizon Pregame Show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. As we get set for a big one, the Eagles and the Cowboys, 425 down in Dallas. And joining us right now to talk about a big one as the Eagles try to get to 9-2 is the voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese. Merrill, how you doing?
Merrill.
I am great, guys. Looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a very, very tough, competitive game.
Merrill, I'm with you, and it's and the site is going to be a fun one down in Dallas. It's always fun when the Eagles go down there. And today, Merrill, before we get to your keys, they're wearing the Kelly Greens. We haven't seen these on the road in a very long time.
Maybe ever, right? I mean, since they wear their regular uniform. I don't remember them since they switched to midnight green ever wearing the Kelly Green on the road.
Yeah, well, since they brought him back a few years ago, it's only been for the home games, 2 or 3 a year. So now they bring him out on the road. It's going to be fun to see that in Dallas. Merrill, let's get to your keys to the game. How about key number 1 today?
Number 1, the Eagles must move the ball quickly. Short and medium-range passes might be more productive against a defense that will try to take advantage of an injury-weakened offensive line.
Yeah, and Dallas plays a lot of zones, so going over the top against them could be challenging. And like you said, without Lane Johnson, it could be hard to push the ball deep down the field like that. All right, how about key number 2, Merrill?
Put constant pressure, consistent pressure on Dak Prescott. He's got great weapons in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and tight end Jake Ferguson.
He does. Ferguson doesn't get much, play nationally. People don't talk about him, but his numbers are very good. And Williams is a good runner. They have a very good offense. And the pressure last week got to Jared Goff. Let's do it again this week, this time to Dak Prescott. How about key number 3, Merrill?
Well, don't forget, something else got to Jared Goff, too, and it got to Jalen Hurts, and that was the wind. It was a much different circumstance than today where the roof is closed and the wind is not a factor.
It was a huge part of last week's game on both sides. It was hard to move the football. It was hard to kick the ball.
It really was.
Yeah, it was a November football game, November-December football game. This one's going to be a different atmosphere. Merrill, how about key number 3?
Okay, this is big. Win the turnover battle. The Eagles are 40-2 when that happens, and right now they are 10 ahead of the Cowboys because the Eagles are +6 in turnovers and the Cowboys are -4.
Yeah, Dallas really, if they don't win the turnover battle, has very little chance to win these games. Then the Eagles, you're right, Merrill. It's been remarkable. And Merrill, most of that, I would say, their defense does create turnovers, but most of what you're saying there is because their quarterback just doesn't throw interceptions. I mean, I know Jalen had the fumble 2 weeks ago in Green Bay on a play he was sliding or going down, but when it comes to throwing the ball into traffic and harm's way, Merrill, there's very few quarterbacks in the league, really, and maybe ever, that throw the ball into harm's way as infrequently as Jalen. He just doesn't do it.
Well, he's 16 touchdown passes and 1 interception, and Dak Prescott has 21 TDs and 6 interceptions.
And you know what? That 1 versus 6 is a big difference. Those 5 interceptions there changed things. Jalen Hurts now is down for his career to a 1.8 interception percentage. It's the 8th best in the history of the NFL. Merrill, we appreciate you hopping on. Enjoy a game down there in Dallas, and let's come home with a victory, Merrill. Thank you.
Have a good one, Merrill.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Hugh. You guys have a great afternoon.
You too. Well. There he goes. The voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese. Hugh, so Merrill's talking about the interceptions there and turning the ball over. It's obviously it's one of Jalen's better traits. It always has been. He had the 1 year, 2023, where it kind of went the other way, but you look at all the other years, he doesn't throw picks. I do wonder, though, at some point, is that line between protecting the ball and being aggressive on offense, is that a line he starts to play it differently? Or is this just what they're going to do until they lose?
Well, I think it's going to be like this until they lose. Because the one thing that we're talking about is, turning over the football. And Jalen doesn't do that a whole lot. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. He's told you that more than one occasion. But it's winning. And he doesn't care. I think back to when they had Monday Night Football, Detroit was talking about it. And he talked about how Jalen doesn't care what it looks like as long as they win. And it looks like that's what it's going to be. And that's the way that he's been playing this whole season.
Elliot back with us. Elliot, after a week of conversation around here within the Eagles about maybe what Jalen's teammates do think, should he care? I mean, the bottom line is the Eagles trying to win games, and Jalen's job is to lead them to victories. But as a leader, should he care with his other players on the offense think? Specifically, just let's use this perspective, the wide receivers who want the football.
Yeah, I think it's important to pretend to care. I think, it's important to have the relationships in the building where the offensive players on obviously his side of the ball are not mad at him. Like, that's not a good thing. But I would find it pretty comical if I was Jalen Hurts and players are coming up to me and saying you should change the way you play. Jalen he was a number 1 recruit, out of high school. He played at 2 big-time college programs. He almost won the Heisman. He came to the NFL. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He has a franchise quarterback contract. He has a Super Bowl MVP. His team is 8-2 right now. In what world should Jalen change the way he plays? I mean, it's absurd. It's like going to a business that's thriving and saying, I know you're doing amazing, but maybe you should stop what's worked for you and try something slightly different. Like, why would you do that? I'm not saying there are times where him being smart with the football and not being willing to put it in harm's way doesn't impact him, because it does. And the offense looks the way it does because of Jalen. This isn't a Kevin Patullo thing or a Nick Sirianni thing. This is the offense is designed around Jalen's strengths. Jalen decides where the ball goes, and Jalen's the one that ultimately the offense looks that way. But it works. It absolutely works. So I get why AJ and Devontae would hate it. Like, I definitely get why they would hate it. I get why the offensive lineman would hate it, because there's times where he holds onto the ball too long, it throws off the timing of the play, and they give up pressures that they probably shouldn't have. But the bottom line is, and Jason Kelsey put it, well this week when he was on WIP, I'm sure those guys enjoyed winning the Super Bowl, right? So, yes, I get the frustration, but Jalen should absolutely not change the way he plays.
Yeah, I think big picture, he and the team have figured out that this is the way they win. So I generally agree with you, but they need to score more points and just possess the ball more, Elliot. I mean, I just feel like this thing, it's hard to imagine they could continue to win scoring this few points and possessing the ball this little. It's like, their 3-and-out rate it's ridiculous compared to the talent they have.
But I think the reason that is happening is not because of Jalen not being aggressive enough. The reason that is happening is because they are one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. They are one of the teams that has the most negative plays, and they face the longest third down in the NFL as a result. I agree that if maybe he took more chances down the field, then obviously, you're moving the ball if it works out. I get all that. But they are playing a similar. Why can't I say
similar?
Wow, look at that.
We're good.
A similar brand of football that they have the past few years. The only difference is they have more penalties and they're facing longer third downs. Like, that is what has to be cleaned up. It's not a change in philosophy of how Jalen plays. It is cleaning up the mistakes that are putting them behind the sticks.
Oh, so I agree. Ultimately, they need to convert more first downs, right? Whether that's by having fewer penalties so they're in more manageable third downs. One thing, Elliot, that we talked about Friday, I'm curious where you come down, is Jalen Hurts' legs and how much they have been, haven't been, and should be part of the offense. So Chris Collinsworth last Sunday was harping on the idea he thinks as we go towards December and January, the Eagles are going to do this more and maybe almost kind of holding back. I'm not sure how much truth is to that, but that's what he thinks. And then, Elliot, we looked at the numbers on Friday on the show. So week 1 against the Cowboys, Jalen Hurts ran 14 times for 62 yards and had 2 touchdowns, and one of them was like a true running touchdown, not just a tush push. Since that game, he's averaged 6.6 rushes per game, about 22 yards per game, and only has 4 rushing touchdowns. Elliot, what do you think's going on with that, and do you think he should use his legs more?
So it's a combination of things. One, I do think he should use his legs more. I think it would help the offense. I wonder, though, is it him making the decision not to run the ball more, or is this a organizational thing where they don't want him to run the ball more? And I would ask that of Hugh, too, because if I remember correctly, Hugh, you were around where McNabb stopped running the ball. I can't remember if that was later in his career.
Yeah, I was there.
But yeah, there was a moment where McNabb decided he was going to stop running the ball, right? So and I believe this, that if we're going to say Jalen has a big impact on the offense, the plays that are called, where the ball goes, what the offense looks like, I think it's a bit naive to say he's controlling everything except when he runs the ball. So maybe this is a Jalen thing where he's decided, I'm not going to run the ball unless I absolutely need to.
You know what? To your point, I think McNabb got to that point because you used to hear all the time about how he was a running quarterback.
Yep.
And I think that probably plays a little bit into it because, what was it, 2 years ago, Jalen threw a lot of interceptions, and then I think he made a conscious effort not to throw as many. And then I guess he just got to a point where he's just been more protective of the football.
Well, he has been. And Elliot, the McNabb thing is interesting because you look early in his career and it was about 5, rushes per game in those first 3 full years when he was going to Pro Bowls and got MVP votes. And then those numbers started to come down, pretty significantly over the next 3. Now, he had a lot of injuries, and I always wondered, to me, Elliot, that was a combination of maybe the perception he didn't like and he wanted to change it as he aged, but also then his body started to fade.
Yeah.
What I don't, Jalen, to me, looks like the same athlete he has the last 2 years. Maybe he's not as explosive as he was when he was 23 years old, but he still can run. He still can move. We saw it in week 1. To me, we talk about penalties, they're behind the sticks. If he runs a little bit more, maybe he converts a first down. It gives them a new set of downs to then maybe hit Devontae or AJ for a big touchdown. I feel like we're missing some of that now.
Yeah, so, I think all players in the NFL are dealing with issues every week physically that we don't hear about, right? There are differences between injuries where, AJ has had leg problems. He has missed games, he's missed practices. So there's that. I don't think Jalen has that level of it. But it does feel like Jalen has been dealing with some version of a leg issue the past year and a half. Remember, he had the game where he had the sleeve on, and there was a bunch of controversy about whether it was or wasn't on. Early, this season, I've seen him at times, using the Theragun, massage gun thing on his leg. He's on the bike this year more than I think he has been in past years. And I do think he's actually been caught from behind a little more this year than he is normally. It feels like there's been times where he's tried to escape the pocket, and guys have gotten to him from behind. So I don't think it is a pure physical thing, but it does feel like, as opposed to early in his career. I mean, I saw highlights on online recently of him at Oklahoma, or him in his first start against the Saints in 2021, and it does look like a different guy. It just does. The way he moves then is not how he moves now. So I think there is a little bit of a physical part of this.
Yeah, that's the when you just mentioned seeing highlights of him in the past. You're right. I mean, there was the one. I think it was the Saints game here in 2021 where he put his foot in the ground.
Yeah, he had the hard cut.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen him do anything like that in a while.
Now, that being said, last year in the playoff game against the Rams, he had the 50-yard touchdown run. And so I think he can still absolutely do it when he needs to. The question is, do they need him to do it now to help the running game? If they think the running game is struggling in part because then no one has to respect Jalen as a runner anymore, and I don't think that's fully the case, but if they see that on tape, then I do think you have to have him hold it a few more times to help get Saquon going.
I agree. I do think that's part of it. I mean, you go back to early in his career. I mean, Miles Sanders was running with wide open holes because, in part, I think, because they were so afraid of Jalen. Now, it's just choppier there. So we'll see if Jalen runs the football more. But, Hugh, it's one thing we keep talking about the offense and why they're stuck in mud. It's I feel like there's this part of it they're not using. Jalen can run, and they just haven't used him as much.
Well, and I think part of the reason, I think the passing game is what's ailing the running game because Dave Spadaro said it earlier, and it just feels like that's been the case every week. Nobody's afraid of the passing game when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles because it's been so sporadic. It's more of the running game, and they know if the running game gets going, that this team is a formidable opponent. it's the passing game. If you can find a little bit more consistent passing game, I think that's going to help open the running game.
Well, they need that. And they look, they just need to sustain drives. I mean, it's not even that they need explosives or, to score in every drive. They just need to get a couple first downs with some of these drives, not to give the football right back to their team. All right, coming up, we will get to Elliot's 3 keys to the game before our predictions. It's a big one today. The Eagles and the Cowboys. This is the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
Call 811 if you have some groundwork to do. Utilities are under you, and it's all good until they spew. Oops, now all on your lawn. It smells like a porta-john. Should've just called 811. It's a real human stinky bomb.
Call 811 before you dig and help us hit 50 and 5. 50% less damage to buried utilities in 5 years. For more info, visit pa1call.org.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious. With multiple engine options and impressive towing, while Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability. Nice. Making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Hand & Stone has a secret that turns one gift into 2. This Black Friday weekend, buy 1 massage or facial gift card at Hand & Stone and get another one free. Check 2 people off your list with just 1 purchase. No crowds, no chaos, just the perfect gift of relaxation. But here's the thing about secrets. They don't last long. Visit your local Hand & Stone spa or handandstone.com for more ways to save.
In Philly, we go all out for what we believe in. And at Lincoln Financial, we're no different. Since 2003, we've been proudly flying alongside Eagles fans everywhere. Since 1905, we've been helping Americans with retirement, protection, and benefit solutions built to last. 120 years in, and just like the birds, we have no plans on slowing down. Lincoln Financial, the name behind the link. Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates, copyright 2025.
In this town, champions aren't born, they're built on the field and in care settings across the region. Brandon Graham here to tell you the Philadelphia Eagles and Jefferson Health are teaming up because they know precision matters, because every moment counts, and because care isn't just about what happens on game day, it's about showing up every day for every person in every neighborhood. We're one team with one goal, to care for this community together. Jefferson Health, champions of care.
Operating engineers are the men and women that move mountains. And the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative, ELEC, puts them to work. They create opportunities for the men, women, and union signatory contractors of Local 825, repaving our roads, keeping our homes bright and warm, and even building our favorite team stadium. We understand infrastructure. That's why ELEC and Local 825 are ready to get to work.
This Eagles season, get in the game at Acme and enter their Swoop In and Win sweepstakes for your chance to win Eagles tickets, autographed jerseys, helmets, or more. Download the Acme app or visit acmemarkets.com/swoopinandwin for more details. Plus, save 5% when you shop on game days wearing your Eagles apparel. Acme makes sure Eagles fans have all their game day needs. Don't miss the featured football items of the week. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, or Cheez-It crackers, all 2 for $5. Acme, the official supermarket of the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A field goal? That's a no. But a honey butter dinner roll? That's a yes. A 6-pack of abs? Definitely no. But a 6-pack of beer? Uber Eats can get you that. There you have it. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Official on-demand delivery partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Order now.
Eagles, Cowboys. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the WIP Afternoon Show with Ike, Spike, and Fritz, 2 to 6.
You're listening to the Verizon Pregame Show on the Eagles Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. 4:25 kickoff today down in Dallas. Eagles Cowboys, Eagles look for their 9th win of the season. All right, it is that portion of the program here. It's time to get to Elliot's 3 keys of the game.
3 keys with ESP.
Of course, the keys to the game brought to you by United Tire for the best tire prices anywhere. Don't drive alone. Drive United. Elliot, what are you feeling for number 1?
Yeah, so number 1, the number 1 key to me to win this game, Nick, be aggressive. Be the coach he normally is. Go for it on 4th down. I might not even punt the whole game if I were Nick. I think an absolute key today is to when you have the ball, you got to be going for it. You have to be going for touchdowns, not field goals. You look at the Cowboys defense this year. They're 29th in the league in red zone defense. They're one of the worst, if not the worst teams in the league when it comes to stopping teams inside the red zone. So if you're inside the 20 and you have a 4th and 4, a 4th and 5, honestly, maybe 4th or 6, go for it. The Cowboys will break eventually. And the other thing I'll say is to the people that are critical sometimes of Jalen, of Nick being too aggressive. There was a really good article this week on ESPN about how Nick might be the most scrutinized good coach in the NFL, and I found this stat fascinating. Since 2021, only one head coach has added more to his team's expected win percentage than Nick Sirianni has by going for it on 4th down. So there are certainly times where we'll talk Monday about a decision that didn't work, or maybe he was too aggressive here. Bottom line is Nick's style of being aggressive wins consistently for them. And today, I would not back down from that. That's a good Cowboys offense. Be aggressive. Don't be conservative.
All right, so a couple ways to unpack what you're saying here, Elliot. And I've been critical of Sirianni lately in the late game scenarios.
And you've been wrong. So
well, I don't think I have. But what's confusing to me is I feel like he's lost some of his teeth within the game, and then he's getting super aggressive to end games, right? Like the Packers one where they threw the ball late instead of punting. Okay. And then last week going for the tush push. Those are, we could debate those, the risk reward of trying to finish a game. But Elliot, to your point, and where I'm with you on this, and where I typically am pro that, is I feel like he hasn't been as aggressive within the middle of the game like he used to be. Like I think of last year, and he's referenced this recently, when he talked about the NFC Championship game against the Commanders, where it was a 4th down, and they threw it deep, and they kind of started to blow the game open. I like when he does that, and today could be a day to do it. And Elliot, with that, it could be a way to almost jumpstart his offense. They're going up against a bad defense. The more shots you give them to make plays, they're probably going to make some. And there could be a scenario where if he's just super aggressive, they might get to 30 points just because he gave them more chances to make plays. Like today feels like a day to be aggressive within the context of the middle of the game. That's where I feel like they've gone weirdly conservative at times this year.
Yeah, I do think there's been, end of half situations where they have been rather conservative there. I would guess he would tell you that in that instance, like the risk is not worth the reward. If you are risking the ball at the end of the half, like the thing about the 3rd and longs is, and to be clear, I wish they would be more aggressive on 3rd and long. So I'm not defending it. I'm just saying I think their mentality is when you're facing a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, whatever it might be, and they faced a lot of them this year because they on average face the longest 3rd down, is that you are seeing passing defenses there. The defense is set up to stop the pass, and they believe by either checking it down or running it or a draw or whatever, they can pop one, maybe, right, and get it. So I think in that instance, he views it as a risk where you are throwing into a defense that's not going to be advantageous to throw it, and the reward is really most times just a 1st down. I get what you're saying. If there's 45 seconds left, maybe you get a field goal. I get that. But I think at the end of the game, the risk is winning the game, is ending the game. So the risk seems more worth it in those instances to be more aggressive than it does in these other situations you just brought up.
Hugh, what do you think? More aggressive Sirianni? Elliot wants to see it.
Yeah, I would like to see that, man, especially now when you're talking about the offense and the way it has been, non-existent, or it's been not what you want it to be. So, yeah, be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, and Elliot, the other part of this is he could also protect his defense a little bit, right? Let's just say it's the first series of the game. Let's say the Cowboys win the toss, Eagles get the ball first. 4th and 3 on the Cowboys 47. I mean, you go for it and you keep the ball, you help your defense. So we don't want to punt the ball. I just feel like they are lately, by the way they're playing, it's putting a lot of pressure on the defense to be perfect. And they've been basically that for the last 2 weeks, but it's not easy to expect them against the best quarterbacks and best, receivers in the league to just
You're talking about week to week.
Yeah, keep getting stops. I mean, they're asking a lot right now.
I mean, I think sometimes, like in my experience of just covering the team, you'll often hear the offense or even the defense at certain times say, hey, we have to be better for the other side of the ball. And there's truth to it normally, but sometimes I think it's mostly just, you're just saying it to the media. The Eagles' offensive players have said it this year, and it's absolutely true. They have got to start carrying their weight here when it comes to winning. I mean, their defense is the number one reason probably, or certainly the number one side of the ball, as to why they have the record they do. And you could add special teams. They haven't done it as recently, but early in the year, they were blocking kicks. They were scoring touchdowns. I mean, they were outstanding. So there's not many games they've won this year. In fact, maybe one game, you could argue maybe the Minnesota game and maybe the LA game, that they won solely because of their offense. I mean, the offense has not had to win a shootout, and today could be that. Like, again, I think the defense has proven itself the last 2 weeks. If they let up 27 points today for the Cowboys, you won't catch me coming on here and saying they're not as good as we thought. 27 points in this dome against this offense where Dak never loses, especially to the Eagles. He's 6-1 in his career here against the Eagles. You have got to win a shootout today if that's what it takes. They got to start carrying their weight on that side of the ball.
Yeah, the other thing about the points today and how the score could go and how it affects coaching is the Eagles are probably going up against the best kicker in the league, Hugh, in Brandon Aubrey. And was it like a month ago, Elliot, 2 months ago? It was within this season. Vic Fangio said he thinks this kid is going to hit a 70-yarder at some point.
And he did it.
So, like, at some point, he might hit it could be today, he hits a 70-yarder against the Eagles. So, Elliot, the Cowboys...
No, he came close, didn't he?
Well, the Jaguar guy got the 68-yarder.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
but Aubrey, I mean, he's probably going to get there one day. But, like, the Cowboys today could get points all the time, or like on a lot of these drives, 3 points because their kicker's so good. So it could change the equation for the Eagles offense, Elliot. The Cowboys could find their way to like 12 points without even moving the football because this kicker's so good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think, again, my number one key today is you got to be aggressive. Give your offense chances. And the other thing I would say too quickly before we move on to the second one is while I do think like he has been mostly aggressive this year, and I think the instances where he hasn't, I've understood. The one part about to what you said about being conservative at the end of halves is you don't get to, on one hand, when you're aggressive at the end of the game, say, hey, I believe in my guys, I'm always going to believe in them, and then start to, shell up a little bit in other spots and not act like that isn't somewhat about the state of your current offense. I mean, if they had the number one offense in the league, I don't think you'd ever see them be conservative at the end of half. So I do think he is, maybe arguably smartly taking into consideration how they're playing, but then you also have to show faith in your guys. So to your point today, I do think it is important that he shows today, like, I'm going to leave you out on the field because I know you can get it done against this defense in this environment.
Yeah, sometimes you got to pick your spots, and this feels like a good spot to kind of trust the offense because they probably should win against this Cowboys defense. All right, how about key number 2, Elliot?
So number 2 for me, obviously protecting Jalen is always important. But today, protecting him up the middle. You look at the defensive tackles of the Cowboys. They're outstanding. Kenny Clark is really good. Quinnen Williams came in last week, had a really, really strong first game with the Cowboys. I think he had a sack and a half, 7 pressures.
Yes,
he really, made his presence known. Today, first day at home for Quinnen Williams. I expect him to be super, super motivated in this spot. And so you look at the Cowboys' edges, like they're decent. Dante Fowler, Donovan Ezeraku, Jadeveon Clowney, like they're solid. They're not bad, but they're not special either. I think up the middle is where it's going to be key, especially because Jalen, frankly, is not that great at dealing with pressure. His sack percentage for a quarterback is really high. He allows more pressure or is responsible for more pressure than almost every other quarterback in the NFL, and he bails on plays early. So for an offense that has had trouble staying on track, where the plays are being run on time, and for an offense that has had trouble staying ahead of the sticks and not taking bad sacks, protecting Jalen up the middle today is absolutely key.
Yeah, it's huge. And, Hugh, they get a boost there because Cam Jurgens has no injury designation, which, Hugh, I'm surprised about. Usually when a guy has a concussion and then they're limited in practice early in the week, it's more of an up in the air if they're going to play. I mean, yesterday we knew he's going to play in this game.
Yeah. And I guess they went through all the protocols that they needed to go through, and they cleared him for this game. And it's good to have him out there, man. You need the guy today.
Well, Elliot, they do need him, especially without Lane. I mean, missing 2 starters feels like it would have been a lot. And when we were talking through the game this week, I just assumed Cam wasn't going to play when he was, first not out there full in practice on Wednesday. But that's a huge part that he is going to play in this game today for your key there.
Yeah, I mean, to what you were saying about Cam and not practicing on Wednesday, maybe I'm forgetting one, but I can't remember many players that have had a concussion, not practiced on Wednesday, and played on Sunday. Like normally if you don't practice Wednesday, you don't get through the protocol in time. So I do think it is I mean, I don't want to use the word impressive because all concussions are different, but obviously it is a boost to the offensive line that he's able to play today. But, also we haven't talked about it yet when I've been on. Maybe you guys have brought it up. No Lane Johnson today for the first time since he suffered this injury. So Dante Fowler, to me, is a really good first test for Fred Johnson. He's not going up against Aiden Hutchinson. It's not Michael Parsons. But it also is not, some scrub. I mean, Dante Fowler is a nice edge rusher. He's not great, but he's not bad either. And so seeing how Fred does today is going to be key in knowing how you're going to feel about him these next 3, 4, 5 weeks, however long it might be until Lane is back. Are they calling the game differently? I mean, they leave their tackles out on islands more than any other team in the NFL. So if now all of a sudden you're not able to leave your tackle on an island, how is that impacting your game plan? How is that impacting what you're able to do? So I think Fred against these edges is key, but also Mailata. Mailata has not played well. We do the Mailata show every Monday night, me and Spike with Jordan, and he is very clear. He does not feel he is playing well this season. He will not hide from that. So both tackles today, while I think the matchup is easier than the interior, both tackles are certainly worth keeping an eye on.
Elliot, there's two parts to the Lane Johnson loss, right? One, just him and Fred having to fill in, which he's had to a lot, unfortunately, this season. But the other part is it felt like you go back to the Minnesota game, the Giants game a month ago, they were using a good amount of their offensive possessions or your plays with 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to continue to do that and it's kind of next man up and that's Matt Pryor, or are we going to see less of that because now you don't want to put a backup lineman and another backup lineman out there on the same time?
I think you'll see it just as much.
Okay.
I mean, it's important to what they've done. The 6 offensive linemen, I agree, Matt Pryor is not as good as Fred Johnson, but I think it'd be hard to take that out of the playbook right now.
All right, Elliot, how about key number 3 for an Eagles victory?
All right, so number 3 for me, there's so many to choose from here, but number 3 for me is going to be have Quinion follow George Pickens. This Dallas passing offense is special in this building. I mean, it's really good overall. They're 3rd in the league in points per game, 3rd in points per drive, which I think sometimes is the more indicative stat of how good an offense is. They average almost a field goal a drive. You said a few minutes ago they might score on every possession. They're basically averaging scoring on every single possession in terms of a field goal. So the offense is really good. How have they been that good? George Pickens has been outstanding. He's averaging around 16 yards a catch. He's a big down-the-field threat guy. CeeDee Lamb's been in and out of the lineup. We know CeeDee is good. He's healthy now. He's playing well. But if you can take George Pickens out of it, if you can have Quinion stop him from going down the field and making those big plays, make the Cowboys have to dink and dunk, essentially down the field, I think that's big. So Quinion this year, after last year spending every single snap on one side of the field, he has moved around more. He has been able to travel. I would have him on Pickens every time he's on the outside.
That would say a lot, Hugh. If the Eagles if Vic Fangio does what Elliot's talking about, it would be a signal that the number 1 receiver in Dallas is Pickens, not Lamb.
Yeah, I could. I don't know if they're going to do that. I think they're going to keep it the way that they're going to keep it, but it is going to be interesting to see how they handle if they keep Adoree over there if the game starts to get away from him a little bit. Because George has been balling.
Another thing to keep an eye on is I don't know if they would do it in game. But let's say Adoree is really struggling today. Let's say they are picking on him like they did in week 1. Because, they won week 1, but CeeDee Lamb got open in the 4th quarter and dropped passes that could have won the game for the Cowboys. Let's say this game starts, Adoree is really struggling. We have seen Fangio be willing to make moves in game. Would he move Cooper to the outside in this game? Because Michael Carter has been with the team for a few weeks now. He's getting on the field a little bit more each week. And I think the next guy up after Adoree is not Keeley. I think the next guy up is Cooper. The question is, would they do that in game? So if you're the Cowboys, you are absolutely coming into this game trying to pick on Adoree. And certainly that side of the field. Makuba as a safety this year, solid year for a rookie, absolutely, when you take into account what the expectations could be. But he has been a guy that's given up big plays down the field because of his aggressive style. So you do wonder if Adoree struggles today and if one of those receivers really gets going, would you see Cooper on the outside?
Yeah, it feels like, and I know we're going back to the weather a little bit, but just like when you factor in how the wind changed passing games last week, Elliot, this feels like the biggest challenge from a pass defense perspective since was it the Rams in week 3? I mean, the Broncos don't have a great quarterback and receiving combination.
Giants, Vikings, Packers. Yeah,
it's been a long time. I mean, I know the Bucs were good, but I think they were down Mike Evans in that game. This feels like the first time in a long time. It's like, all right, let's see how they cover these two guys. And the fact that it almost, Elliot, in a weird way, it's almost kind of like what's going on here with the Eagles. Not that Lamb is maybe had as down of a year as AJ, but like the idea that maybe their number 2 is actually the more dangerous guy, the way we talk about Devontae now compared to AJ. The Pickens thing is changed their offense, because last year, and I know Dak was hurt, but last year when we played them, they didn't have anyone besides CeeDee that scared anyone. Now Pickens is, second in the NFL in receiving yards coming into today.
Yeah, Pickens the trade has been outstanding for the Cowboys. It was a smart move. But I still think CeeDee is their number 1 guy. I do think it's an interesting comparison in the way that Devontae has been better than AJ this year. I still think coverage tends to lean towards CeeDee. The only reason I'm saying Quinyon would follow Pickens and not CeeDee is because CeeDee goes in the slot half his snaps, and you have Cooper DeJean there. So, in a world where CeeDee's on the inside, I think bringing Quinyon to the inside wouldn't make much sense, because then you have Cooper if you wanted to move him to the outside on the play, but you wouldn't. So you can have him on Pickens on the inside, and when CeeDee's in the slot, you can have Cooper on him. But yeah, Pickens has been outstanding. He's a tall receiver. He's a great jump ball guy. He can certainly make some boneheaded plays sometimes, but he's a very dangerous player.
I know last week Carter got on the field for a snap or two. Like, from your perspective, do you think it's been enough time that you think Vic would trust him to get on the field if it got to that point?
I think if Adoree is struggling, they would feel comfortable enough in Michael Carter to put him in at nickel. He's been here for a few weeks. The sense I get talking to people is they really, really like him. Howie Roseman called him an elite corner when they acquire elite nickel corner when they acquired him. So, yeah, I think they're ready to go with him. It's just a matter if Adoree can hold up his job.
And obviously, with that, Cooper and how he would fare. I'd be fascinated to see Cooper on the outside against a good receiver just to see how he does, because it impacts this year and impacts the future as well. All right, we got a lot to get to on the other side, including our predictions on the game. How is this one going to play out? The Eagles and the Cowboys, it's a 425 kick. It's a big one in the NFC. So we'll get to our predictions coming up on the other side. This is the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.
This is Merrill Reese. After years of calling every thrilling Eagles moment, I know the value of a strong connection. That's why I'm partnering with Verizon and just made the switch. Crystal clear calls, lightning fast speeds, and reliable 5G network. Verizon keeps me connected, whether I'm in the booth, on the go, or streaming game highlights. Make the call like I did. Switch to Verizon today, because when it comes to coverage, you want the best in the game.
It's football season. Time to fire up the grill and bring your A game to the tailgate. Whether it's delicious Hatfield bacon to kick off your day or tender, juicy marinated pork tenderloin sizzling for halftime, Hatfield's got your menu covered for every fan feast. From the coin toss to the final whistle, Hatfield brings bold flavor to every play. Find your game day favorites at simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield, better care, better pork.
Quality is very important here at the North Pole. You see, I checked my list once, twice. All done.
Well, Santa, quality's important to us at Nissan, too. We actually test every model thousands of times. There's the frame twist test, shaker test, corrosion test, drive load test, tug-of-war test, towing test, off-roading test, practical strength test, splash test, corrugated road test, chassis dynamics test, water intrusion test, extreme heat test, extreme cold test, rough road test, jump test, curb impact test. And physical parts tests.
Save on J.D. Power's #1 mainstream brand in new vehicle quality at the Nissan year-end event. Get 0% APR on the 2026 Rogue Platinum, 2025 Murano, or Pathfinder for well-qualified buyers. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Example: 0 down payment, 60 months financing at $1,667 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to NMAC credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 12/1/25.
The Birds are grinding down the defense and chipping away at the score. Modern Group is Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey's banded tree care equipment dealer with hand-fed and whole tree chippers, stump grinders, industrial grinders, and shredders in stock and ready to bring power and performance to your team. Score big with banded equipment backed by Modern's all-brand service and support. Visit moderngroup.com for all your equipment needs. Join a winning team. Modern is hiring technicians, signing bonus, great pay benefits, and employee-owned.
Football is all about protection. Protect the ball, the QB, the lead. With Penny, PA's official health insurance marketplace, you can protect yourself with high-quality health coverage, so you're not blindsided by medical bills. It's open enrollment time for all Pennsylvanians to apply, shop, and enroll at penny.com. That's PENNIE.com. Deadline is December 15th. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
When it's game time for your business, trust Brady Plus to get you across the goal line. As a national distributor of janitorial, food service, and industrial packaging supplies, we equip your team with the right gear and the playbook to match. Fast delivery, reliable products, real pros who know the field. At Brady Plus, we don't just deliver boxes. We're calling winning plays. Visit BradyPlus.com. That's BradyPlus.com. Proud partner in sustainability of the Philadelphia Eagles.
In Philly, the field is sacred, the fans are family, and the energy unmatched. And Lincoln Financial gets it. Since 2003, we've stood with the Eagles through brotherly love and brotherly shoves. And for 120 years, we've been helping Americans with retirement, protection, and workplace solutions built to last. Lincoln Financial, the name behind the link. Learn more at LincolnFinancial.com. Lincoln Financial is the marketing name for Lincoln National Corporation and affiliates, copyright 2025.
Hear Nick Sirianni's presser after the game on 94 WIP. This is the Verizon Pregame Show on Eagles Radio.
Welcome back to the Verizon Pregame Show, sponsored by Verizon, the official 5G partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. As we look around the NFL, we'll get to our predictions coming up in just a few minutes on what happens today. But Elliot, as we look around the NFL and what's going on today, a couple of things I'm curious everyone's thoughts on what's going on here. Let's start with one, a team that we're watching right now try to come back in the game, but the Lions are down at home with about 3 minutes to go to the Giants. And Elliot, I don't know how much you've seen of this or just seen the score, but every time I look up, Jameis Winston is moving the ball and throwing to open receivers. And I know last week
makes you a little nervous, huh?
Well, I know last week was tough to throw, but the Eagles
it was windy. Let's calm down. It was windy, okay? It was windy. It was part of it.
But the Eagles couldn't throw the ball on the Lions, and the Giants are throwing it all over them with a third-string quarterback and no-name receivers.
I agree. That I'm agreeing with you on this. Every time I've looked up, Jameis Winston caught a touchdown against the Lions today. Like they have been creative. You know, if you're in the offense, should be more creative camp. Certainly this game, if you've had a chance to watch it, it seems like they've taken some chances. But the Lions we thought was some huge test for the team, and I think it still was. I think it was an impressive win. It was a tough game. If the Lions lose this game to the Giants, they're 6-5. So they act like the Lions are 9-2 or whatever. 6-5. That's not an impressive record.
No, it's not. Now, by the way, Lions just got to stop on fourth down, so they're going to get the ball back. We're down 3 with 3 to go, with a chance to go tie the game or win it. So we'll see what happens. So the other thing catching my attention today, Hugh, the Bears come in here on Friday. That's our next game.
Might be a little trouble.
Well, I haven't taken them seriously the entire year. They're up right now 31-28, but it's to note they are playing a backup quarterback today in Mason Rudolph. But Hugh, they're 4 minutes away from closing out and going to 8-3. Do you take the Bears seriously as they come in here in our next game?
I'm not. I don't take them Detroit Lions seriously.
But they're 8-3. The Lions might be 6-5.
I don't take them Detroit Lions seriously, but you look at that record and you look at the way that they've been playing. They've won games by the skin of their teeth, but so have we. So you give the Chicago Bears their respect.
Elliot, I haven't taken the Bears particularly seriously, but 8-3, it's tough to scoff at, and it does feel like their young quarterback, who we're going to see on Friday, is taking a step forward with a new coach this year.
Yeah, there's 3 things that worry me about the Bears. Maybe even 4. 4, they're playing with house money, right? They're not supposed to be this good. There's not any pressure on them. Very different from the Eagles, who are expected to not only win every week, they're expected to look awesome doing it. So the Bears coming in on Friday against the Eagles, like they're playing with house money in that game. Also, their quarterback can make plays. He'll make dumb plays, but he will make plays that can hurt them. The thing that probably scares me the most about the Bears, though, is they find ways to win games. They're not the Eagles, but it feels like every time I watch them or check in on them after an Eagles game, they were down, maybe not playing great, but they find ways to win. And I think there's something to be said about that over a long stretch of a season. So, yeah, I think Friday's a tough game, especially on a short week.
The last thing, and you've spoken about this, Elliot, over the years, there's a cumulative effect of going deep into the playoffs every year, and it's just hard to keep winning, and you get everyone's best shot year after year. The NFL is designed to kind of turn over and not have the same teams win. It is interesting this season, the teams that were perceived to be the best, they have not looked that great. The Eagles probably have one of the best records considering their expectations to start the season. Buffalo has struggled. The Ravens, it's feel choppy the whole year. The Chiefs down with a couple minutes to go, trying to avoid going 5-6. We just mentioned the Lions, who are down to the Giants in the fourth quarter. Elliot, these teams, there's been I'd say 5 or 6 teams that have been in the playoffs and probably gone deep for the last 3 or 4 years. Most of them are struggling this season.
Yeah, it's why I think both things can be true. They have not played to their potential. There are definitely things they should improve on, and they need to play better than they are. All that being said, I think they're the clear favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC because even though they are not playing great, you look around the rest of the league. Again, Seattle, not a real contender. I don't take them seriously. Mm-hmm. The Rams, definitely, a team to consider. But the Eagles, I'm pretty sure Nick Sirianni's never lost to the Rams. And then you go through the other teams that have not played well. So the Eagles, we'll find out a lot over these next few games too because their schedule certainly lets up. I mean, they have probably had the toughest schedule in the NFL over the first 12 or whatever it is, 10, 11 weeks of the season. So, yeah, I agree. I think they need to play better. But if you look how other teams around the league are handling this, I think the Eagles are still the clear-cut, Super Bowl favorite.
So you mentioned the schedule lets up. Let's quickly do that before we get to the predictions for today. So the Eagles have 7 games left, Hugh, starting today. They're 8-2, 7 games left starting today. The games are at Dallas, home for the Bears, at the Chargers on a Monday night, home for the Raiders, Washington in Washington, at Buffalo, home for Washington. Hugh, 7 games to go. Off top of your head right now, how many of the 7 do the Eagles win?
I was thinking 4-3, 5-2. 5-2. 5-2.
5-2. 5-2 would put them at 13-4 to end the season.
Yeah, 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a question late in the season if they need that last game or not. The Eagles they're very smart about resting, so I could see them not having to play that last week and just resting, which could impact obviously the win or the loss. Elliot, Hugh's first thought was 4-3 or 5-2. When I read the schedule off to you, what number came to your head?
I mean, I would think at least 6. I mean, they win 80% of their games, basically. We saw them last year not lose a single game the second half of the season. I think no game is easy. The Bears is tough. I think today's tough. The Chargers tough. But the Washington will have nothing to play for. Buffalo's not playing that great this year. I think they're the best team in the league, so it's hard for me to really sit here and say 4-3 or 5-2. I guess it's certainly possible they lose, but this team doesn't really lose often. So if you had to say are they more likely to win 5 or 7, I would take 7.
So 5-2 is in my head. I actually think today and at Buffalo are going to be the hardest 2 games. The Bears, we'll see, and that's a home game.
I agree with that. Yeah.
The Chargers scared me more when the schedule came out, but their entire offensive line is out. Like the Eagles should rush Justin Herbert all night. Washington stinks. The Raiders stink. I think today is one of the 2 most difficult games left in the schedule. We'll see how it plays out, and let's get to predictions on how this thing plays out. Hugh Douglas, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. What's going to happen today?
Oh, man, I think that this offense is probably going to look like his look this last couple of weeks, that they've been playing. I think this defense is going to shine. I can see this game with potentially 2 to 3 sacks. I can see Jalen Phillips getting his, second sack of the season? Or whatever.
As an Eagle?
As an Eagle? Yeah, I can see that. So the score, to me, I think is going to be 21-9. I can see 21-9, 21-10. Yeah.
They're going to hold them to 9 points?
Yeah, I just think that's what they're going to do. I think that's going to be one of those days.
Well, look, if they hold them to 9 points, we're going to play the clip of Elliot on the pregame a couple weeks ago saying this defense is better than last year, because I think we'll all start saying that if they hold this Cowboys offense, which scores like 30 a game and 40 at home, to 9 points. So Hugh Douglas says 21-9 Eagles. Elliot, how do you see this playing out today?
Yeah, so I think this is a revert back to the middle a little bit game for both of the sides of the ball. I think the Eagles' defense probably won't look as good as they did the past 2 weeks. It's a really, really tough test today. But I also think the Eagles' offense won't look as bad as it has been the past few weeks either. That being said, I don't expect outstanding performances from either of them. I think the defense as a whole has been good this year, right? But I think it's a tough test today. In the offense, I think will be better, but I don't expect them to look like a unit that solved everything today and have some type of explosive output. So I'm going to pick the Eagles to win the game, but I think it's going to be close, and I think it could end up being a tight one. I'm going to go 26-23 Eagles.
Yeah, Elliot, I see this one more like you see this one, and I was saying on Friday that I part of me feels like this could be a trap game for the Eagles in the sense of 2 difficult games back-to-back against playoff contenders, and then you got the Bears, who obviously got to put them in the mix too, on a short week, and this game kind of sandwiched in the middle. It's a weird vibe, all the weird vibes around the Eagles, but I think their strengths are going to find a way to come out in the end, but I do think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, and we're going to know it's over at 6:30 tonight. I feel like this thing comes down to late in the fourth quarter. I'm going to take the Eagles to win the game because they're better in enough areas that they're going to pull away late in the game. I'm going to go Eagles 24, Cowboys 22. I think it's a really close game today, and we're going to get the Cowboys' best shot as they try to save their season with a couple home games in a matter of a couple days. Eagles 24, Cowboys 22. That wraps up the Verizon pregame show. Remember to stay tuned after the game for the PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Systems postgame show with Rob Ellis and Rodney McLeod later on tonight. For Hugh Douglas and Elliot Shore-Parks, along with studio director Mike Angelina, producer Paul Baroli Jr., engineer Andrew Swank, and our studio assistants Dan Wilson and Ryan Straub. I'm Joe Giglio. Now stay tuned for Merrill and Mike as they bring you all the action on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC. Brilliantly boring since 1865 on 94 WIP.